and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Sunny and 16 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Trust Physio Extra. Norwood, Purie Street, Marion, Hallicove, Seaford and Victor Harbour. PhysioExtra.com.
2 people are dead and a third is fighting for life following a crash at Baruta, north-northwest of Adelaide. Just after 3:30 yesterday afternoon, police were called to the Augusta Highway after a car left the road and crashed into a tree. The driver, a 40-year-old man, and the front passenger, a 61-year-old woman, both died at the scene. 2 other passengers were taken to hospital. A 14-year-old boy is in a critical condition. An 11-year-old boy is stable. Charges laid following an alleged domestic violence incident at Port Hughes this week are now expected to be upgraded to murder. It follows the death of a 37-year-old York Peninsula mother in hospital. Labor wants a please explain about the financial compensation given to the supercars when the 500 was axed. The admission was made by the Premier in budget estimates yesterday. A number of businesses which were contracted to the event also received a payout. Opposition leader Peter Malinauskas says the government must reveal how much taxpayer money was spent.
Regardless of whether it's $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, that's a lot of taxpayers' money going to supercars for them to not host an event. I'd rather give them the money to host an event and then have all of that attraction to the visitor economy that we know that the race brought.
Labor has pledged to bring back the Adelaide 500 if elected at next year's state election. Parenting advocates say the rising cost of childcare is taking a toll on Australian families. Inflation figures show fees have increased by 10% over the past 2 years. The Parenthood's Georgie Dent says there needs to be a new approach to early education funding.
It is really obvious that the subsidy model that we have used to fund early education and care is simply pushing up fees.
Fully vaccinated travellers from the United States and the European Union will no longer have to quarantine when they arrive in England. Nine's Steve Marshall has more from London.
The rule change comes as the UK government faces mounting pressure from the aviation industry to exempt double-jabbed American and European travellers. Currently, people arriving from the US and EU countries must have been vaccinated in the UK to avoid having to self-isolate for 10 days. From Monday, people who have been fully vaccinated in these amber-listed countries will no longer have to quarantine. Travellers will still be required to undertake pre-departure COVID tests and take another test 2 days after they've landed, similar to existing rules for fully vaccinated people arriving from Australia.
The National Gallery of Australia will return more than a dozen artworks to India. The museum has determined the works acquired between 1989 and 2009 were looted, illegally exported or otherwise unethically traded. And ZZ Top has lost bass player Dusty Hill at the age of 72. The founding member passed away in his sleep after suffering hip issues. The American trio had a string of hits in the 1980s, including this one. Now to FIVEaa Sport.
Get $200 cash back on Bosch washer dryer packages at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
He's FIVEaa's sharp-dressed man. It's good morning to Tom Wren.
Oh, what a great song that was, Mel. That's very, very sad news. Let's start with basketball, and the Boomers have continued their perfect start to the Olympics after beating Italy. Nine's Eddie Summerfield reports.
It was no easy matchup against the world's 10th best side. Italy led at half-time as veterans Aaron Baines and Joe Ingles began to influence the game, swinging it towards Australia. First-time Olympian Jock Landale topped the score sheet with 18 as the Boomers marched to an 86-83 win. They'll play Germany in their final group game to determine their quarter-final opponent.
Well, meantime, Emma McKeown has set a new Olympic record in the 100-metre freestyle heats, while the women's 4x200 freestyle relay qualified fastest for the final. The Olympic golf tournament gets underway today. Mark Leishman and Cameron Smith representing Australia. Let's go to football, and Port Adelaide is expected to learn where it's playing its match against GWS today. Small forward Orazio Fantasia is a chance to come into the side after recovering from a knee injury. Teammate Connor Rosie telling Rowie he's close to a return.
Yeah, he's not far off it. He played on the weekend in the scratch match with the VFL side, so I think he went all right. So he'll definitely be around the mark. It's just whether or not they'll give him one more week just to make sure he's 100%. But yeah, he'll definitely be in the mix, that's for sure.
And the Adelaide Thunderbirds have secured a thrilling one-goal win against the Sunshine Coast Lightning, 61-60, to claim their 4th win of the season. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now the FIVEaa forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Sunny today with a top of 16, partly cloudy tomorrow 19, Saturday showers 17. Right now it's 7 degrees. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
The new FIVEaa Player app lets you listen to all your favourite FIVEaa shows, news and podcasts wherever you go. Download it now from the App Store.
You're listening to FIVEaa Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Thursday on FIVEaa Breakfast. Coming up on the program this morning, we're off to Tokyo before 7 o'clock. We'll reflect on what is, by certain metrics, the third most successful day in the history of Australia. In fact, it might have gotten better by the end of the day. I didn't factor Rowan Dennis in, but one of the top 3 most successful days of Australian medal winning in Olympic history. Looking forward to that chat before 7. Matt Abraham after 7:30. We've got a brand new political party in South Australia who's a spin to dissect. He'll be running the rule over that at 7:30. And then a little bit later in the morning, South Australian Senator Simon Birmingham on disaster relief that the federal government's offering to states where there are lockdowns that continue, and chief among them, of course, is New South Wales at the moment. And then a little later, the leader of the South Australian Labor Party, Peter Malinauskas, on the program. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. I think from what I read this morning, it's the most successful day Australia's had at least since Beijing. But maybe going back even further than that.
Well, it's 2008, 2056, I think, were the three days. But when 7 was running the graphic, at that point they hadn't had the Dennis Bronze in. So
yeah, right.
I suspect it.
He's probably the surfer, yeah.
No. He's the cycler.
Oh, the cycler. Yeah. That's
cyclist.
Right. The cyclist. Yeah, the bronze came earlier in the day, didn't it? For the surfing.
I think that was the day before.
Was it? It's all blurry.
Yeah, I think it was the day before. I'm losing track. There's just so much winning going on at the moment. Exactly. It has been extraordinary.
Oh, it's hard to keep up though. I'm still in a bit of a funk after the soccer last night. That was bitterly disappointing.
Yeah, it was.
We'll get into the details of that with Tom later. But the swimming and the rowing are just absolutely sensational. Hey, here's a tip: if you want to book a restaurant dinner in town this Saturday night,
you can't.
Have you tried as well?
Tried last night.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I reckon I looked at about 15 different restaurants. And look, fantastic for the restaurants, although full is... How quickly do you fill up if you run in a restaurant? Normally you might have what? A small restaurant would be 30 tables, 25 tables. A big restaurant would normally be, 60 tables. Divide all that by 4. That's what's happening. That combined with the fact that everyone's been cooped up and they want to get out, particularly people with kids. Yep. It's like, okay, we're going to get them babysat. We're going out.
I spoke to one guy. I feel so bad for him. I spoke to one guy. He was clearly the owner of the restaurant. It was not waiting staff because he spoke like he had skin in the game. A really well-known restaurant in the city, in the heart of the city. And I rang up and he said, mate, he goes, I'm sorry, but I'm allowed 20 people in at the moment. He said it's a total joke. He goes, and he was exasperated, and it sounded like I was the 50th person straight who'd called him trying to book in.
Oh, and how frustrating would that be for those people?
And he went, mate, I'm sorry, I don't even know what to tell you. And I said, you don't have to apologise to me, mate. I get it. Yeah, I know.
Do you know him well enough to be like?
No, not at all.
Oh,
This was a bloke at his wit's end who just went, mate, I'm so sorry. I'm literally had 20 people in, so I can, And you could just hear it. This is a guy, so everyone celebrates the end of lockdown and, return to normal. But not if you run a restaurant or a business where your capacity is usually 80 or whatever, and it's 20.
Andy said he got into a restaurant on Saturday night for the earliest dinner he's going to have ever eaten, which is at 5:30 p.m.
That is early for dinner.
Well, we got a booking at Fishbank at 8:15 p.m. That was... Kate's never been there. You been there?
Yes, I have.
It's terrific, isn't it?
The thing is also, but that they have the advantage of huge floor space.
Yeah,
that's
big.
That is a huge... I would suggest that's probably the biggest floor space restaurant in Adelaide.
Well,
that was a smart suggestion, booking in there. You've done well. That's clever.
Well, it was about my 10th choice.
Yeah,
But no reflection on the restaurant. I just didn't remember that it was there because it's pretty new. But it used to be the Bank of New South Wales, I think. Is that what the building was?
Yeah, it was the bank building. Yeah, because the bathrooms downstairs are in the vault. The
The bathrooms are unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's worth going there just to go to the toilet, let alone for the King George Whiting. But the other thing I noticed, how mental was the traffic yesterday? It was crazy.
Is it, or is it just that we're not used to it? We've kind of accustomed to no
it felt
traffic.
like yesterday afternoon, it felt like everyone was out of the house.
Yesterday I experienced something I've never experienced on the road. And there are about 6 cars that can attest to this, that what I'm telling you is 100% truth. In fact, I bumped into one of the guys randomly by accident at a coffee place. I was getting a coffee and he overheard me telling the story and he went, I was in that. On Tapley's Hill Road, no, not Tapley's Hill Road, Henley Beach Road, crossing over the Torrens, there's that little bit of bridge before you get to the intersection at Tapley's Hill Road. There was the most intense, I reckon, 90 seconds of rain and wind I've ever experienced in my life. Any country, any time, anywhere.
What time was it?
It would have been at about, around 10 o'clock, something yesterday.
AM?
Yeah, AM. Yeah,
Yeah, I know, because I'd gone to sleep.
Right.
I got home and I went to bed and went, what the hell is that?
So we're driving across the bridge over the top of the Torrens, right? And the visibility went down and down and down. And I had the windscreen wipers on the turbocharged setting that you never have them on, and I couldn't see the end of the car. And I'm thinking,
you're joking.
And I was thinking, I can't drive in this. So I just instinctively was slowing down. Got to a point on that bridge, looked around, every car on the road had stopped.
Seriously?
There was, with no traffic impediments, every car on the road had stopped on both sides of the road because you couldn't see anything in front of you. Hazard lights on, and everyone just sat there for 30 seconds. Never seen it before in my life. And then it dissipated. And when it dissipated, it was like something out of a disaster film. There were trees and there were branches down everywhere on the road. It was just strewn all over the place. But every car on the road just stopped because it was physically impossible to drive. And I was telling literally this story at a coffee place, and a guy overheard and came up and said, I was in my truck. And he said it was like a tornado. One of those mini tornadoes came through.
Yeah, right.
But it was just extraordinary.
Amazing. Hey, we got some undies to buy, haven't we, Will?
We do, and we're getting some good money in to be able to do it. $8,510 is where we're at so far this morning. mycause.com.au/undiedrive. If you jump on that website, you can donate $2, you can donate $100, you can donate whatever the heck you want. We're trying to raise as much money for the Catherine House and the Hutt Street Centre with the help of Edwardstown Mazda. And it's going great guns. We introduced the concept of the Challenge Bowl yesterday.
Oh, yes.
It will be making an appearance, I can tell you, in the next 20 minutes.
20?
Yep.
The next 20 minutes.
The Challenge Bowl will be appearing in the next 20 minutes.
That's early.
Maybe 25 minutes, but it's coming soon. 14 minutes after 6, 8223 is our number. You can text us on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text. I will delve into the news headlines right after this.
How do you know you're in South Australia? Well, we make a great coffee. We're Festival Mad. And we have Leader computers. Yep, world-class Leader computers are made and serviced right here in Adelaide. It means everything you need for your business or home computing is local, not overseas, not interstate. So if something does go wrong, there's no runaround. Live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. To find your local dealer, visit leadersystems.com.au.
It's the little things that make a big difference to your day, like a thank you email from a colleague or a smile from a stranger on the train. And it can all start here with a healthy, delicious breakfast made with the goodness of Aussie-made Pura milk. It's got 8 essential nutrients and vitamins to kickstart your morning and set you up for the day ahead. So start your day the positive way with Pura.
It's one of the hardest and most complex decisions you can make, deciding on the future well-being of your parents.
Well, now you can find all of it in one place in the 2021 Aged Care Guide, and it's absolutely free.
In it, you'll find information on all aged care homes, on home care providers, placement consultants, my aged care information, and a comprehensive list of aged care financial support services to give you a better understanding of costs. Other features include types of care available, the ins and outs of short-term care, applying for funding, and much more.
For 23 years, the Aged Care Guide has supported local SA businesses. For your free copy of the 2021 Aged Care Guide, just call this number, 8276 7999. That's 8276 7999, and arrange to have it delivered free to your door.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive of Western Hospital, Henley Beach. Western Hospital GP Clinic is also a COVID clinic providing vaccinations for all eligible patients. Make sure to book online for an appointment which suits your needs. Plus, our GP practice offers individualised care in a modern clinic, with appointments which ensure your concerns are heard. Western Hospital, your hospital that cares. For more information, visit westernhospital.com.au.
Once it's gone in Dreamland's once-a-year warehouse sale.
That's right, our warehouses are full, so right now it all has to go. With savings of up to 50% off big brand Australian mattresses and ensembles, like Sealy Posturepedic, Sleepmaker, Exclusive Sleep Haven, Restopedic and Utopia. Plus there's huge savings on bed frames, bedroom furniture, adjustable beds and Manchester. With savings up to 50% off, don't miss out on a great night's sleep in Dreamland's once-a-year warehouse sale.
It'll soon be gone.
Dreamland. You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
17 minutes after 6, let's get into the news headlines on this Thursday morning. The Japanese Prime Minister said there's no need to cancel the Olympics as COVID cases rise in the host city. 3,177 people tested positive to coronavirus in Tokyo. It's the highest daily case total in the city since the pandemic began. 15% of tests in Tokyo returned a positive result. That's staggering. It's 0.2% in New South Wales right now, if you want a little comparison. 0.2%. 17 athletes have tested positive so far after another who was on the list has been cleared. In total, 169 people connected to the Games have contracted the virus.
A bit hard to cancel the Olympics now that they're, getting towards being halfway done.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a bit of a...
that must be responding to local clamour.
Yeah, for sure. What was interesting was that soccer match last night was played in Miyagi province, where they've got no restrictions.
Yeah, there were 3,000 people there.
Yeah. Everyone was out there, not a huge crowd. You get more than that at Unley.
That was nice to have some genuine fans. Millions of residents in parts of Sydney are waking up to tighter COVID restrictions as health officials tackle the worsening Delta outbreak. The local government areas of Parramatta, Georges River and Campbelltown are now subject to authorised work orders. Oh, it sounds like something out of a dystopian novel, doesn't it?
It does, but there's still... Sorry, you go on, Will. What's it mean?
It means residents can't leave their LGA unless they work in health, aged care or are considered an essential worker.
See, the funny thing is, though, they are still piss-farting around, pardon my French, in New South Wales when it comes to how serious they're taking all this. Because one of the big sort of tough new measures Gladys announced yesterday was that you're not allowed to travel further than 10 kilometres from your home. And I thought, well, that's 4 times longer than we were allowed to travel last week in South Australia.
Yeah.
Like, what? They're still doing it in such a dribs and drabs fashion. It's crazy.
It seems as though, ideologically, they still want to be able to say, when this is over, well, we still, you know what, we didn't have to go as far as other places have. Yeah. It's like, as though it's totally a testament to the approach.
And seriously, having spent a lot of time covering New South Wales politics, and some of the old stages from back in my day in the late 90s are still there. And there's a really good piece by Yoni Bashan, the New South Wales political correspondent in the Oz this morning, looking at the inner workings of Cabinet. What you just said then is exactly what would be happening, where you'd have, some of the Conservatives sort of puffing their chests out, saying, oh, no, this sends a terrible signal ideologically.
Yep.
Like they're incapable of thinking of things in a pragmatic sense.
Yeah. 2 people have died and a third is in a critical condition after a crash at Baruta, northeast of Port Pirie yesterday. The driver, a 40-year-old man, and the front passenger, a 61-year-old woman, both from Whyalla Norrie, died at the scene. 2 other passengers were taken to the RAH, a 14-year-old boy who's in a critical condition, while an 11-year-old boy remains stable. The opposition is demanding the government reveal how much taxpayer money was spent paying the supercars out of its Adelaide 500 contract. Under questioning in budget estimates yesterday, the Premier admitted the company was compensated. And here is opposition leader Peter Malinauskas.
Now it turns out that he's cancelled it, not to save money, but actually cost us money, because the Premier's had to compensate supercars for terminating a contract prematurely, which I think is really unfortunate and doesn't represent the best use of taxpayers' money, particularly when we've got so many different needs in the state at the moment.
You know, the Illuminate Festival got $5 million from the taxpayer.
Did it?
Yeah.
Well, gee, nothing's really gone ahead there.
Well, mainly that's COVID's fault.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Well, what's the ROI, return on investment, for $5 million for Illuminate compared to the supercars?
I don't
That's
know.
not an opposition claim either. It's from knowing someone in the arts space who was telling me about that.
Yeah,
$5 million.
I've really enjoyed the things I've gone to in Illuminate, but I can't see how a government can't be consistent or have a rule that it applies across the spectrum to what is deserving of taxpayers' money and what's not.
Yeah.
What's the formula that's applied, or is it sort of gut feel?
Don't get me started on the opera. Got nothing against opera, but if that had to stand on its own 2 feet, I reckon it'd be insolvent by next Tuesday.
The top cybersecurity weaknesses have been listed in a joint advisory from Australia, the United States and Britain. The countries are issuing a stark warning to businesses and individuals to protect themselves against cyber vulnerabilities. Advice has been partly released in response to a wave of hackings orchestrated by China, including the attack on the Microsoft Exchange network. Here's Assistant Defence Minister Andrew Hastie.
If people have questions about what they need to do to protect themselves or their businesses, please go to cyber.gov.au for more information and tips on protecting yourself from cyber threats. That's the Australian Cybersecurity Centre website.
7 degrees outside at the moment, top of 16 today. And how's this? Sunny. There were moments yesterday that were beautiful.
Yeah. It was a bit of everything yesterday.
It really was
Melbourne
a bit of
weather.
everything. Today, 16 and sunny. Tomorrow, not bad either, I tell you. 19 the top and partly cloudy before it gets wet and rainy again on Saturday. 10 mils of rain, top of 17. Sunday, 16 and 3 mils of rain. So Saturday's the really wet day in the next couple. 23 after 6. Tom Wren's got a great story. We've heard a little bit about how countries incentivise medal winning. Like the Philippines won their first ever medal, and the weightlifter, she will get hundreds of thousands of dollars and a house. Other countries have other methods. And Tom Wren will take us through it right after this.
Imagine the convenience of buying your new car from the comfort of your own home. With Hyundai's Click to Buy, you can shop online. We've made it easy to compare models, configure your Hyundai and make a deposit online through our secure Click to Buy process. So, whether you're after the remarkable i30, the impressive 8-seat Palisade or the seriously fun Kona, you can shop online with Hyundai. Search Hyundai Click to Buy for details. T's and C's apply, subject to stock availability. Speak to your Hyundai dealer for details.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
The internet, it's worldwide and it's unstoppable. Or it was. You have the power to hit pause and give your family a break. If you've got kids, you probably also have a concern that they're spending too much time online. Trend Micro Device Security Ultimate gives parents the ability to set time limits across all devices. Not just computers. It will work on gaming consoles, smart TVs, phones, or any other device that connects to the home network. Plus, Trend Micro will filter and protect your family from the parts of the internet you don't want in your home. Get into Harvey Norman now and ask for Richard's Special, the Trend Ultimate Device Bundle plus a year's subscription for just $129.
Check out these great offers at 5AA.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Well, they were there for us during lockdown and they continue to support our community. Of course, I'm talking about the Adelaide Central Market, and yes, they are open for business.
With 70 traders under one roof, shopping at the market means you are supporting a huge network of family businesses, local suppliers, producers and growers.
As always, there's heaps of the best fresh produce, including fruit and veg, seafood, meat, bread, milk, cheese, continental, even take-home meals. And if you can't get to the market, well, simply order your favourite market goodies online for contactless home delivery every Tuesday, Thursday and Friday.
The Adelaide Central Market open Tuesday to Saturday. For more information, check out their excellent website, adelaidecentralmarket.com.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. Whether it's heating or cooling, Air Conditioning Warehouse Sales has Adelaide's biggest air conditioning brands and Adelaide's best prices. Visit airwaresales.com.au.
I don't really like talking on radio, but I do like talking about our cows at the FIVEaa Milk Company. And I love helping support SA dairy farmers. They're a great bunch with beautiful families. They work day and night to produce the best milk in SA. So when you're in the supermarket, look for FIVEaa Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it. I'm getting good at this.
FIVEaa Milk Company, celebrating 15 years of SA business. FIVEaamilkco.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
The new 5AA Player app lets you listen to all your favourite 5AA shows, news and podcasts wherever you go. Download it now from the App Store.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
26 minutes after 6. Let's talk sport. Tom Wren in the studio. Get $200 cash back on Bosch Washer Dry Packages. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, the home of Mr. Dishwasher. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. We know there's pressure when there's Olympic events on. All athletes feel it. I mean, you only have to look at Simone Biles and the tribulations that she's going through at the moment. But I reckon there's a different kind of pressure for a couple of athletes that are competing in the golf. And we know that not all the players on the golf tour are huge fans. Adam Scott pulled out. Jason Day, countless around the world said, you know what, not for me. It shouldn't be the pinnacle of our sport. But South Koreans, Sung Jae Im and Siwoo Kim, they, if they get a medal, do not have to. This is one of the only ways you can get exemptions from performing military service, which is compulsory up until the age of 28. If you get a medal, you do not have to do the military service. Now, Sung Jae Im's 23, so he could still do it in Paris in 2024, but Siwoo Kim is 26. The fact that they decided to withdraw from the British Open, which is the biggest major of the year, I think bigger than the Masters, suggests they don't want to be doing military service. They are putting everything on the line for this next 4 days, which starts today. How much pressure on those two? They've got a 6-foot putt for a bronze medal on the last hole.
Yeah. So any medal and you don't have to do national.
Don't have to do national service.
And so they've pulled out of the British Open too.
To concentrate solely on
the
this.
medal is much more important to them.
So how about that?
High-stake stuff, isn't it?
You sort of feel for it. And I'm not denigrating. Look, military service to those that want to do it, great. And, but when it's compulsory, and it made me think.
Well, they're living just down the road from North Korea, I guess. So that'd be why they're
that's
so,
right.
They're so attuned to it.
The other thing I wanted to put to you is if the same applied to us and they said to the three of us, right, you've got 3 years to train for the Olympics. If you get a medal, you don't have to go and do 2 years or 4 years military service in the Australian Army. What sport are you choosing?
Now, that's a good question. We were talking about that at home.
Size up my boots. I'm doing Nasho.
Just put you in there?
Just do it. I just say, can we fast forward? Can I start it now?
Yeah. What about the table tennis, though?
That's what I was thinking.
There's the Aussie mum who's done 5 Olympics in a row.
Oh, those people are pretty talented.
And Andrew Hoy, of course, equestrian. But I guess the thing is he started when he was in his 20s.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything you can just pick up in 3 years and have any chance whatsoever.
Hey, I've got a couple of kayaks.
We could give that a go?
Yeah. I don't know if I've got the core strength to sort of stop motionless in the middle of a swirling torrent and turn the kayak around, though.
With Niagara Falls going past.
Given that the last time I was cooling off the edge of the reef at Aldinga, this half-metre, not a wave, more of an eddy came along, tipped me out of the boat.
Oh, goodness.
Head first into the rocks I went.
Wow. Yeah,
it's a tough
having
to get through those dangling poles.
That's a tough sport. But there you go. So that's pressure over the next 4 days. We'll see how those
You should have a crack at the golf, Tom.
Would love it. If they could count my score after 2 days and put that to 4, then I think I'd be okay.
Mate, if you were Korean, you might be able to get out of national service.
Yeah. It
See, if I
staggers me
played
that-
golf for South Korea, they'd immediately hand me over to Pyongyang.
And he's a left-hander.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Good on you, Reddy.
Good stuff. Thanks, fellas.
5AA
Cheers,
News
Tom.
time. We'll have an update on the Undie Drive in just a moment, and also the Challenge Bowl will make its first appearance of the morning.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 16 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Stiff and sore coming out of lockdown? Call Physio Extra today for an appointment. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
The state road toll for the year now stands at 60 after a double fatality on the Augusta Highway at Baroota. A ute left the road and hit a tree yesterday afternoon. The driver, a 40-year-old man, and the front passenger, a 61-year-old woman, died at the scene. A 14-year-old boy is in a critical condition in hospital. An 11-year-old boy is in a stable condition. The lockdown prompted more of us to roll up our sleeves and get a COVID vaccine. 79,609 doses were administered in SA during the week-long shutdown. That's a 15% increase in doses compared to the previous 7 days. Well, more than 50 backpackers have to stay put in 2 Brisbane hostels after a guest tested positive to coronavirus. Nine's Jared Braybrook reports.
There are fresh COVID concerns after a West Australian man who flew into Brisbane from the Philippines tested positive to the virus. He'd been staying at the City Backpackers Hostel in the CBD after completing hotel quarantine when he became unwell. Guests at the hostel and at the neighbouring Joe's Place Backpackers are now in lockdown, awaiting COVID test results. Both hostels have been deemed close contact venues by Queensland Health. It's unclear how the man, who's been in the community while infectious since last Thursday, caught the virus.
Concerns the rising cost of childcare is having a serious effect on Australian families. Out-of-pocket costs for early learning and care have increased by 10% over the past 2 years. The Parenthood's Georgie Dent says everyone deserves easy and affordable access.
Regardless of what your parents do, where you live, what your parents earn or don't earn, we need to make universal, high-quality early learning and care a priority in Australia.
The first of Australia's athletes to wrap up competition at the Tokyo Olympics will arrive home today. Nine's Natalie Peters reports.
Our softballers were the first Aussies to arrive in Japan, and after finishing 5th, they're now among the first to fly back to 14 days quarantine. They're due to arrive in Sydney and Brisbane this morning. All up, 859 athletes and support staff will return to Australia. They'll be transferred to government-administered hotels and facilities in Sydney, Brisbane, the Gold Coast, Melbourne, Perth and the Northern Territory. The Australian Olympic Committee says athletes and officials are not included in the international arrivals quota, so won't be taking spots from overseas-based Australians seeking to return home.
Netflix has become the first major Hollywood studio to implement a blanket policy requiring vaccinations for the casts of all their US productions. It also covers those who come into contact with the cast on set. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get $200 cash back on Bosch washer dryer packages at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. It was another night of dominance in the swimming heats for Australia at the Tokyo Olympics. Nine's Jordan Tunbridge reports.
Emma McKeon has produced an incredible swim in the 100 freestyle heats, breaking the Olympic record with a time of 52.13 seconds. And it looks like the best is yet to come for McKeon. She slowed towards the end of the race and wasn't even puffing while leaving the pool. Her teammate in the gold medal winning 4x100 freestyle, Kate Campbell, also won her heat, qualifying 4th for the semis. Our women's 4x200 freestyle relay team blitzed the heats, with Ariane Titmus and McKeon still to return. Mitch Larkin, Tristan Hollard and Jenna Strouch also advanced in their events.
Well, the teams will be released tonight for the Crows and Port Adelaide ahead of their round 20 matches. The venue, though, for the Power Giants game still hasn't been released. To netball, the Adelaide Thunderbirds have caused a massive boil-over with a thrilling 61-60 win against the Sunshine Coast Lightning. Scores were all square with only a few seconds remaining. Goal shooter Lenise Potgieter keeping her cool.
13 seconds. This is playing to the hands of Adelaide, providing they can get a goal away. Otherwise, we're into extra time. Potgieter with 5 seconds to win the game for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Oh my goodness, they have caused an upset beyond belief.
Yeah, great result. That audio there, thanks to Channel 9. Sue Gordian, great call. In the earlier game, the Giants moved the game clear on top with a 9-goal win against the Melbourne Vixens. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Sunny for your Thursday, 16. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 19. Saturday showers and 17. Right now it's 7 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
25 minutes to 7, off to Tokyo before 7 o'clock. We'll take you through some of the top stories after 7 today. Then Matt Abraham will join us on 5AA Breakfast as we dissect a pretty unusual old week in political spin. We've got a brand new political party. That doesn't happen every day, although sometimes it feels like it in South Australia. We must lead the nation in random parties popping up from time to time.
I think so.
We love the creation of new parties.
In the current climate, we've had two in 1 week. We've had the rebooting of Family First, and we've had the Liberal Democrats emerging as well, led by former Liberal Conservative Ross Cameron.
Yep.
Found out the other day he rang Corey Bernardi and he rang Nicole Flint saying, do you want in? They both declined. Corey doesn't give a toss about politics anymore.
No, I think he's having more fun as a media guy.
Yeah, and running the family business and all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nicole's not interested either. She's a lifelong Liberal. But
yeah, I can imagine
which will be music to the ears of a lot of Liberals.
Well, yeah. 24 to 7. Let's have a quick look at the Underdrive situation as we start this Thursday morning, the 29th of July. The Underdrive running through until next Friday. You can go to mycause.com.au/Underdrive. Like so many people have, $8,510 is where we're at the moment. We've been doing this for 2 days. We are really excited about where this might get to by the end of next week.
A lot of talk about fast starts at the Olympics. And I'll tell you what, like you'd throw the Underdrive into the mix for that, wouldn't you?
I like to think of it more as the, Ariane Titmus, where it's going to come home over the top of all comers.
So we haven't started too fast. We haven't gone out too hard too early.
No. We've started on a solid pace, but there is a real kick to come.
Do you think we're on Underdrive record time?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The line's looking in trouble compared to past Underdrives. 8223 is the number if you'd like to call into the show. You can announce your donation that way, or if you just do it subtly, we will read out and shout out your business, or indeed all the individuals that do participate. It's really fun getting to see some of the names of our regular listeners and contributors and people and others who jump on board, leave a message and donate to what is a wonderful cause in the Hutt Street Centre in Catherine House, all thanks to Edwardstown Mazda. Now, there is something we've introduced yesterday to incentivise the process, because what we do on the show each morning is challenge you to hit certain targets in the Underdrive, and we thought it's fair then that we too have some challenges. The Challenge Bowl was born yesterday, and I've still got a stat deck that's pinned to the pin board at the back of my desk here at 5AA that says I have to accept pea super as the appropriate term for a fog.
It's been mounted.
It's been mounted, and we've had it checked out by legal, and apparently it stands up in court. So I'm not going to say any more on the issue. Now we've got
that'll be old Ben in Sydney.
We've got the
legal
envelope.
guy.
We've got an envelope.
Here we go.
The Challenge Bowl. Andy came in.
Thank you, Andy. Well
Ball
done.
boy, Andy Ruzion. Gives himself a round of applause. The challenge today is this. If we can get to $9,000, so that's $490 away.
$490
We want
away.
to crack into the $9,000 mark. You will get an Andy's List. An Andy's List.
Oh, excellent.
For $490, there'll be an Andy's List. Top 5 songs that are actually good songs. This strikes me as something that'll desperately upset you, David. The top 5 songs that are actually good songs. Challenging some perceptions. And I'm guessing for your $490 investment, you're going to hear David get very irritated, which I think is part of the selling point, in conjunction with Andy putting together a tremendous list.
What was his Olympics list the other day that had Savage Garden on it, next to Luciano Pavarotti?
Best performances in
that was deliberately designed to upset me, that one.
So for $490, we don't need to do it in one whack. There can be, 10 of you that put in $49 or 100 that put in $4.90.
Yeah.
Whatever it might well be. We want to get to $9,000 for Catherine House in the Hutt Street Centre. Andy's List, we will play it as soon as we hit the mark. We will play an Andy's List. Well, I mean, if someone rings in right now, he's going to need some time to compile it, but it doesn't usually take long. Top 5 songs that are actually good songs.
So it's not the top 5 best songs of all time, according to Andy Ruzion?
No.
Top 5 songs that are actually good songs.
Yeah,
right.
that people think. Clearly, the implication is here, or the inference is, people don't think they're good songs.
Oh, okay.
He's making the point, these are actually good songs.
I'm with you.
20 minutes to 7.
I think The thing with Andy's list is generally I think they're fantastic.
They're
except
great.
There's always one entry that I think is deliberately there to drive me mad.
Well, I suspect the purpose of this is that there'll be 5 that drive me mad this morning. So I'm here for it. I'm really excited for this. I'm looking forward to us hitting the $9,000 mark for Catherine House and the Hutt Street Centre with the Undy Drive. mycause.com.au/Undy Drive. The moment we hit that mark, we're playing the list.
Hey, speaking of being annoyed by things, we got a terrific text yesterday on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line from Anna saying, simply, medal is not a verb.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. I just noticed before they've got the text, super text on the TV, and they were doing some Olympics coverage about how Australia medalled 3 times yesterday. And I thought, we didn't medal. Nobody medalled. We won medals.
Well, maybe we medalled in the competition in some other way. Maybe that's the story.
It's a medal is an object, not a doing word.
Or it's, well, unless you're disturbing something, or, getting into someone else's, business.
MEDDLE.
Well, maybe
for that one.
Maybe they just misspelled it and that's the real story.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's check traffic thanks to Air Conditioning Warehouse Sales. They've got Adelaide's biggest air conditioning brands and best prices. Airwaresales.com.au.
Hey, Wingfield got a smash on Grand Junction Road near South Road. Another collision at Salisbury Highway at Gawler Street. Chana Pond's got an oil spill there. Northeast Road near Tippett Road and Paraka. Asphalt works causing delays Main North Road near Montague Road. And look out for a camera on the drive home Maid Road at McLaren Vale. Amard Furniture Stores are now open. Come in store and spend $1,999 to receive $250 off your order. Limited time only. Shop with Amard today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Finally, you can get back to the Lion. Get back to long lunches with friends, workmates and business partners. And we've got something you'll want to come back to the Lion for. Our dining room special 2-course lunch package with a glass of wine for just $55.
Back to the Lion.
Head to lionhotel.com.au for more information. Get back to the Lion lunch menu filled with all your favourites. Get back to where you belong. The Lion, North Adelaide.
Welcome to Amy's Everyday Arena, where competitor Keith is at the barbie. Oh my, a sausage is on fire. He makes a break for it, clears a hurdle of bikes, and plonks that blazing bratwurst into the bin. Oh, and he's knocked over the shed. Luckily, when accidents happen at home, Amy can help cover it. Who helps cover the challenges of the Everyday Arena? Amy does. Optional accidental damage at home cover is available with Amy Home Building and Contents Insurance. Exclusions apply. Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS at amy.com.au.
Wilson Security is innovating security for tomorrow. By challenging thinking and reimagining security, Wilson Security is creating value across organisations and accelerating businesses now and well into the future. And they're doing this by using an integrated approach. Wilson use intelligent security technology such as AI and video analytics, drone surveillance, facial recognition and biometric technology to help accelerate business growth. So no matter the size of your business, whatever the industry, Wilson can partner with you. They'll listen to your security challenges and tailor a solution to meet your needs by using the latest security technology, corporate risk management and manpower. For more information, visit wilsonsecurity.com.au.
The world hasn't been quite the same without a great pub meal from a great Barrow Hotel. Well, the wait is over, folks. The Albion, the Birkenhead Tavern, the Excelsior and the Sundowner in Whyalla are now doing all-day dining. And for your safety, fully adhering to COVID-19 compliance. So, from everyone at the Barrow Hotel Group, cheers. And thanks for your continued support. Can't wait to see you again. Now open for all-day dining.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
The new 5AA Player app lets you listen to all your favourite 5AA shows, news and podcasts wherever you go. Download it now from the App Store.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
16 minutes to 7. Let's check in with SAPOL. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson is on the line. Morning to you, Kylie.
Good morning.
Unfortunately, it's been another fatal crash.
Oh, that's right. This one's terrible. 2 people have died and a third is in a critical condition after a crash yesterday afternoon at Baruta, which is about 30 k's northeast of Port Pirie. So about 3:40, police and emergency services were called to the Augusta Highway about 2 kilometres south of Mudge Road after reports that a Holden ute had left the road and crashed into a tree. So sadly, the driver, a 40-year-old man from Wailanori, and his passenger, also from Wailanori, a 61-year-old woman, both died at the scene. Two other passengers, 14-year-old boy and 11-year-old boy, both from Wailer Playford, were taken to the Port Pirie Hospital before being transferred to Royal Adelaide. The 14-year-old boy is in a critical condition and 11-year-old boy is in a stable condition. So road restrictions were in place for several hours, but honestly, an awful crash. These two deaths take the number of lives lost on SA roads now to 60 compared to 55 at the same time last year. And major crash officers are investigating and do ask anyone with any information to please contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Shocking story, Kylie. Also, a woman has been arrested after a car she was driving that had been stolen was spiked.
That's right. This was just before 1:30 this morning. Police spotted a Mitsubishi SUV on Denver Drive at Parafield Gardens. Checks revealed that the number plates were false. So the patrol didn't actually attempt to stop the car, but they called Polair in from above. The Mitsubishi was followed to several locations around Salisbury Highway, Port River Expressway, before it was successfully spiked on South Road at Torrensville. So the car continued for a short time before crashing into a light pole. The driver attempted to run from the scene but was caught a short distance away. She wasn't injured, but the car was had some minor damage. So checks revealed that car was actually stolen from Hillcrest on the 4th of July. So that woman, a 23-year-old from Parafield Gardens, has been charged with illegal use and will appear in court on the 23rd of September.
And also, Kylie, domestic assault on a female on the York Peninsula has been upgraded to murder.
Oh, yeah, this is an awful story. So a woman has died following a serious domestic assault on the York Peninsula earlier in the week. The police were alerted to the incident about 12:30 p.m. on Monday, 26th of July, after a woman was transported by paramedics to the Wallaroo Hospital before being transported to the Royal Adelaide Hospital with life-threatening injuries. And sadly, the 37-year-old victim died in hospital yesterday. So Port Pirie CIB detectives are investigating. A 58-year-old man from York Peninsula has been charged with causing serious harm, was charged with causing serious harm. These charges have now been upgraded to murder. So he's been remanded in custody and will appear in court in December. So, yeah, awful story.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right at the middle of lockdown as well, the end of lockdown. It's a shocking story. And the woman's daughter yesterday in court, according to the police prosecutor, Sergeant Paul Shishuna, said that she lived with her mum, Cherry, for many years, and that this guy used to bash her on an almost daily basis. And all of that is what's been alleged in court. Obviously, it's before the court, so we'll see how it pans out. But just a shocking story. Good on you, Kylie. Thank you.
All right, let's switch our attention to the weather. Tom Bowick, Senior Forecaster at the Weather Bureau. Tom, good morning to you. Before we get to the weather forecast for today and that ahead, I spoke about an experience I had on the road yesterday. It was on 9 News, did a story too about tiles coming off houses and trees getting blown over and whatnot, and people reporting localised, almost tornado-like conditions. What did you get in the way of wind gusts and some of the data that you were able to pull in yesterday?
Yeah, okay, David. Well, look, as is often the case, when we do get these sort of severe weather type events, they're not necessarily going to be recorded on instruments that we have around the metropolitan area.
Sure.
But look, the wind gusts that we did record yesterday were of the order, in the metro area, with the order of, say, 70 to 80 kilometres per hour. Now, I think here at West Terrace there was a gust in that sort of range, but it's likely that through that area, through, I think it was sort of along sort of Henley Beach Road or adjacent to that area, there was a line of weather that went through there, and it's likely that wind gusts would have been stronger than that. Very likely they would have been severe given the damage that there was reported in that line, sort of heading east-west, sort of along Henley Beach Road there. So, yeah, I can only surmise as to what the numbers would have been, but highly likely they would have been greater than sort of 90 kilometres an hour to cause that sort of damage to sort of trees and property and power lines there, guys.
And to today, it looks like we've got a pretty reasonable day on the way.
Yeah, look, well, the good news is for Thursday and Friday, certainly today, sunny conditions expected and 16 degrees, so if you can get out there, it's looking like a really pleasant sort of a day to go out and grab some sun. Maximum of 16 for Adelaide, Elizabeth, Glenelg, 15 for Mount Barker, Noarlunga. And Friday, look, at the moment we've got a mention of a chance of a shower about the hills. That's sort of looking pretty unlikely at the moment, and I think it'll be mostly sunny today. There might be a little bit of cloud, on Friday. There might be a little bit of cloud around, but generally I think it'll be mostly sunny and a pretty pleasant sort of day coming up there as well, with a temperature even higher at 19 degrees. Be a little bit of breeze around, so we've got northerly winds of 20 to 30 kilometres an hour, but nevertheless, if you can get out there, Friday looks pretty good as well. That's sort of where it comes to an end, unfortunately, for the weekend. Look, there's a band of cloud going to be developing on Saturday, giving us sort of a very high chance of showers or even rain, with temperature back down at 17 degrees. Easing back somewhat for Sunday, but 16 degrees and a shower or two. Monday, there's a low to the south, increasing showers for us, and 14 degrees. And then Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, a shower or two around in a west to southwesterly air stream, guys.
Good on you, Tom. Thank you for that. Tom Bowick, senior forecaster at the Weather Bureau. It's 9 minutes to 7, and we're off to Tokyo right after this.
Get more at Mawson Lakes Volkswagen with great deals on demos right across the range, all ready to drive away. And if you're impressed with our selection of cars, you'll love our service department with next day servicing, complimentary loan cars, and breakfast or lunch on us. Why? Because when you're Adelaide's newest Volkswagen dealer, you want to give more. Visit mawsonlakesvw.com.au to see the range online. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide tech guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
This is staggering. Last year there was 2.9 billion targeted attacks on home networks as we share more of our life online through social media, online banking and shopping, emails and browsing. It's more important than ever to be security conscious. All smart devices have computer capabilities which can bring data into our homes, but any device that can carry data into our home can also carry data out. Trend Micro Device Security Ultimate will work on gaming consoles, smart TVs, phones or any other device that connects to your home network. Call into Harvey Norman and ask for Richard's Special and a massive saving on the Trend Ultimate Device Bundle, plus a year's subscription for just $129.
Check out these great offers at 5AA.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
As we get older, we want to be able to enjoy a better life, and perhaps most importantly, we want to be able to enjoy it in our own homes. So if you or a loved one need some help to enjoy a better life at home, Southern Cross Care is here for you with their home care services.
Led by qualified and compassionate health professionals, their home care services will help you take care of yourself, your health, your home and your garden. Plus, there's no set-up or exit fees with Southern Cross Care's home care services, and that gives you that extra peace of mind.
To find out more, visit southerncrosscare.com.au. That's southerncrosscare.com.au, or call 1800 852 772. 1800 852 772. Southern Cross Care, better for life at home.
Want to be part of a retirement community designed around your well-being? At the 4 Lend-Lease villages across South Australia, you'll feel connected and safe, so you can focus on being happy. Search Lend-Lease Retirement SA for a personal appointment.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 to 7, the donations are coming in. The Challenge Bowl came out earlier. If we get to $9,000 this morning in the Undie Drive, thanks to Edwardstown Mazda for Catherine House at the Hutt Street Centre. The Challenge Bowl challenge was for Andy, our producer, and Andy's list, the top 5 songs that are actually good songs. He's going to change some perceptions. Namely David's, I'm guessing, this morning. That's one of the elements of the list we all enjoy.
He's an iconoclast, Andy. He's a troublemaker.
He is.
He's a contrarian.
I want to hit 9,000 for Catherine House and that Street Centre, but I would also want to see how far is he willing to go to challenge people's perceptions of music? What's going to be on this list?
For all the ridicule of me a few months ago, calling me the music man, the real music man here is Andy.
You're both music men.
I know, he's got excellent eclectic music knowledge.
Off the top of your head, what's a malign song that you suspect might be in there?
I reckon there'll be a Manilow song in there.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to find out. We'll find out if we hit $9,000. But someone called in and pledged $100, so
that's good.
$100 closer. I just see $30 has come in via the mycause.com.au website. So we're just over $300 away from finding out. Get them coming in, those donations. Go to the website, mycause.com.au/UndieDrive and donate.
Plenty of messages coming in on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line as well. Shannon in Golden Grove says, "Hey, Will and Pembo, I'm just fuming after I heard you say that we had to pay compensation for not hosting the Adelaide 500. Who were the geniuses who thought it was a good idea to pay Compo to cancel an event that brings in visitors and fills up our pubs and hotels? Just pathetic." Thanks for that, Shannon. Rita says, "Good morning, gentlemen. I was chatting to hubby last night about masks and was wondering if in the event of any form of crime, e.g. assault, bag snatch, etc., if you were caught on a security camera, would police be concerned about facial recognition? And in the past, you were not permitted to wear masks into banks either. So what happens there?" It's actually an interesting question, Rita, because I know that people with those fancy new iPhones, they can't use their face to open it while they're wearing the mask.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
Have you got one of them?
Well, I think that's pretty much every iPhone that's been made in the last 4 years is basically that.
Mine's my thumb.
Oh, so when was the last time you upgraded your phone?
I don't know, two and a half years ago.
You sure it's not longer? Because most of them these days are. It does it by the face.
2019. No, I got it just before 2019.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, it's
I
fairly,
deliberately bought the oldest available model.
It's fairly commonplace, and yeah, it's frustrating, especially when it's pretty common for other forms of technology to have eye scan these days, or retina scan. So there's other ways around it.
But they need to do nose and forehead scan.
Yeah, I would have thought. How hard can it be?
Upper nose and forehead.
Yeah, exactly right. Come on.
Hairline.
Come on, Bezos. What are you working on? Let's head to the Olympics. Nathan Templeton has been poolside and covering it all for Channel 7. We had an extraordinary day yesterday, adding to the medal tally in a big, big way. In the space of a drive from Grange to Largs Bay, we won 2 gold medals yesterday, and I somehow missed them both. Nathan, good morning to you, mate.
Pembo and Will, good morning. Yeah, well, I was at the pool watching those 2 rowing teams win gold, and then about 5 minutes after that, the freak show, Ariane Titmus, won another one in the 200. So we had a very, very good day yesterday, and there's, I reckon, one almost, well, I shouldn't say certain gold, but very, very strong favourites in the women's 4x200 this morning, and that would be Titmus's 3rd gold. She'll swim in the final this morning.
What was the feeling in the building when at the turn in the 100, Nathan, when it looked like she just wasn't quite close enough?
Well, she always comes home hard, but we definitely were worried she was a little bit too far back. I know Thorpe in commentary said this is basically her race plan, but she's about a metre behind where she'd like to be. But look, she's just a robot. She's unbelievable. She always finishes so much stronger than the rest of them. She obviously had a bit of faith. I know she said she actually was feeling it at the end. She was in a lot of pain. She certainly earned that gold medal, but if she wins a 3rd this morning, then she's still got the 800 to come. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but she could quite conceivably walk away with 4 gold medals from here.
As is always the case, Nathan, all the attention, well, so much of the attention is on the pool. But crikey, this rowing squad is going to go down in history as possibly the greatest ever for Australia, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the Great Britain men's team in that 4s event hadn't been beaten for 2 or 3 years. So it was, the Aussies were always highly regarded, but probably not expected to win it. In the end, the Poms actually missed a medal. So we're just performing really well in pretty much every event. And even the events where perhaps we thought we might get gold, we're picking up silvers and bronzes, which is really important as well. So, look, the whole team's doing incredibly well. And back at the pool this morning, Kyle Chalmers, for the South Australian listeners, is defending his title in the 100 freestyle. He's probably not favourite. He's probably 2nd or 3rd favourite behind Caleb Dressel, the American, and then there's a Russian called Kalashnikov, not Kalashnikov. So Kyle's definitely capable of coming home over the top of him and winning another gold, but I would probably say he would expect a medal. If it's gold, it'll be an extraordinary performance.
Great stuff, Nathan, as always. from Channel 7, Olympics live and free on 7 and 7 Plus. Coverage has just been great, I reckon. I think it has actually been genuinely brilliant.
I think that Ian Thorpe's commentary is just extraordinary. And that's why he's so comforting, because irrespective of where the race looks at as just a mug punter watching it, he'll say, no, we're good here. Mm. And you go, and you feel it, and he's always been proven to be right. So when Ariane Titmus turned in the 100 and he went, she'd want to get going, I thought, oh, no. We're in trouble here. Thorpe's a little bit stressed. You can hear the little pitch elevated in his voice. I thought, oh, God. But she came home all the same. Australians that have won 3 gold medals at a single Olympics: Ian Thorpe, Shane Gould, Murray Rose, Betty Cuthbert, Jodie Henry, Stephanie Rice.
Pretty elite company.
It certainly is. 7 o'clock, 5AA News on the way.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 16 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Trust Physio Extra. Norwood, Puri Street, Marion, Hallicove, Seaford and Victor Harbour. PhysioExtra.com.
A woman beaten in an alleged domestic violence assault at Port Hughes this week has died. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says that means the charges laid have now been upgraded.
Port Pirie CIB detectives are investigating. A 58-year-old man from York Peninsula was charged with causing serious harm. These charges have now been upgraded to murder. So he's been remanded in custody and will appear in court in December.
2 people have died and a third is in a critical condition after a crash at Baruta, northeast of Port Pirie. A ute left the road and hit a tree yesterday afternoon on the Augusta Highway. The driver, a 40-year-old man, and the front passenger, a 61-year-old woman, died at the scene. 2 other passengers were taken to the RA. A 14-year-old boy is in a critical condition, while an 11-year-old boy is stable. The lockdown resulted in a record number of South Australians getting a COVID vaccine. There was a 15% increase in doses during the week-long shutdown compared to the previous 7 days. Health Minister Stephen Wade says if you haven't rolled up your sleeves yet, there's no time like the present.
There's plenty of AstraZeneca appointments available. It's a strong, safe, effective vaccine. And even for those who are not eligible for AstraZeneca, those that are eligible for Pfizer, I'd encourage you to keep going back to the vaccine booking site because there are appointments opening up all the time. Even today, there are a number of appointments that one could get with a GP clinic.
Contact tracers are still working on a mystery COVID case in Victoria. Nine's Rochelle Murdoch reports from Melbourne.
A traffic controller at a busy COVID testing clinic in Melbourne has tested positive after working 2 shifts while infectious. It's not known how he caught the virus or whether it's linked to any other cases swabbed at the Moonee Valley site. In nearby Newport, an apartment block has been put in lockdown. Health authorities have ordered residents to stay put, but they haven't explained why.
The opposition is demanding the government reveal how much taxpayer money was spent paying the supercars out of its Adelaide 500 contract. Under questioning in budget estimates, the Premier admitted the company was compensated. Labor's Peter Malinauskas says South Australians deserve to know the figure.
Now it turns out that he's cancelled it not to save money but actually cost us money because the Premier's had to compensate supercars for terminating a contract prematurely, which I think is really unfortunate and doesn't represent the best use of taxpayers' money, particularly when we've got so many different needs in the state at the moment.
And there are tributes today for ZZ Top's Dusty Hill following his death at the age of 72. The band's surviving members have issued a statement paying tribute to the bass player. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get $200 cash back on Bosch washer dryer packages at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. We'll start in Tokyo, and 12:07pm our time is when you need to set the alarm for today. That's when South Aussie Kyle Chalmers hits the water for the 100-metre freestyle final. Mixed results for Australia in the teams event at the Olympics meantime. The Boomers have all but secured a quarter-final place with a 3-point win over Italy in the basketball. The Ollie Roos campaign, though, is over after going down to Egypt 2-0. The men's and women's hockey sides both remain undefeated and are on top of their pools.
An update from Japan, thanks to the new Kia Cerato GT. Get mean.
Let's go to AFL football now, and more news is expected to be released today on where Port will play its match against GWS on Sunday. Gold Coast remains the front runner to host the match, with the Power set to fly in and out on the day before returning to SA. The Crows are in Melbourne ahead of Saturday's clash against the Bulldogs in Ballarat. Defender Brodie Smith telling Rowie even though they're out of lockdown, they're still limiting their movements in Melbourne.
We're trying to do the right thing so we can get home and play a home showdown. So we're still pretty limited to what we're doing. We're not going to anyone's houses or sitting in cafes or anything like that.
Meantime, North Melbourne midfielder Ben Cunnington will be sidelined indefinitely after having surgery to remove a testicular tumour. Well, it's been a magical morning for former Adelaide United striker Awa Mabille. Playing for his Danish side FC Midtjylland, he scored the equaliser against Scottish giant Celtic in their European Champions League qualifier. FC Midtjylland then went on to win in extra time, meaning they qualify for Europe's biggest tournament. But it's not a good start for former Socceroos boss Ange Postecoglou, who fails his first big test as manager for Celtic. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Air Conditioning Warehouse Sales has Adelaide's biggest air conditioning brands and best prices. airwaresales.com.au.
Modbury North got a smash on Montague Road at McIntyre Road. Inglewood, another collision there, Fiddlers Hill Road at North East Road. Burst Watermaid this morning, Paraka, Main North Road near Montague Road. Speed and lane restrictions apply. And we've also got speed restrictions on the freeway. That's for works in both directions. Cameras on the drive-in today, Airport Road, Brooklyn Park, Clark Terrace at Seaton and Military Road at West Beach. Don't miss the must-see comedy action, The Hitman's Wife Bodyguard. Fast track from cinemas to your home. The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, new to buy or rent on digital now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
16 and sunny today, partly cloudy tomorrow 19, Saturday showers 17. Right now it's 7 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
The new 5AA Player app lets you listen to all your favourite 5AA shows, news and podcasts wherever you go. Download it now from the App Store.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
7 after 7, or about $300 away with the pledges that have been coming in over the last 15 minutes from this morning's challenge of $9,000 for the Undie Drive. All thanks to our good friends at Edwardstown Mazda, who are staying on board as our proud supporter of the Undie Drive. Edwardstown Mazda, one big family, and family always helps. Raising money for Catherine House and the Hutt Street Centre. The Challenge Bowl this morning, the fortune cookie of the Challenge Bowl. The challenge was for Andy to compile a list of songs that are actually great songs. Songs that are actually good. He will challenge some receptions.
Songs that are regarded as no good, Andy says they're good.
Exactly right. And I think the added bonus is that you'll be tortured by them. So basically you're hearing it's $300 more to hear David on the air exasperated at the audacity of Andy to suggest some musical mishaps are actually genius.
How are you coping one day on after the great pea super yesterday, Will?
I don't know. I'm just really looking forward to summer.
You know the very first text we got this morning on the on the old text line, Telstra Saw Mount Barker text line, sounds like it was the visibility of a pea super. That was in relation to your story about the sudden downpour and wind gusts yesterday on the Morford Street Bridge.
I got it all on Twitter yesterday as well. The challenges are going to be fun. This is going to be a good one this morning. I'm really fascinated to see what's on the list. We just need a couple $100 more to get us to that $9,000 mark for the for Catherine House and the Hutt Street Centre. Hey, coming up in a moment, we're going to speak with the mother of Alex Hill, who won a gold medal in the brand new Awesome Foursome, 25 years and 1 day removed from the original Awesome Foursome yesterday. The gold medal from Loxton here in SA. Really looking forward to that chat. That's coming up in about 10 minutes' time. Let's get into the news headlines. Unfortunately, as has been the case for about the last month, New South Wales is the headliner.
I will be announcing now that New South Wales will be, or Greater Sydney, will be in lockdown for a further 4 weeks till the 28th of August. That includes all of Greater Sydney, the Central Coast, the Blue Mountains, Shell Harbour and Wollongong.
Yeah, it was the news that everyone was expecting, but just to hear it and think about, imagine 3 more weeks of what we just had. 4 more weeks on top of what they've already had before it is just devastating.
But you can't help but feel that they've turned it into this sort of slow burn torture for themselves. And as I said earlier in the show, yesterday Berry Jicklin was talking about these tough new restrictions. She said you're not allowed to go 10 kilometres beyond your house. Well, here last week it was 2.5 kilometres. So I don't know why there can't be. Well, but the country has been through enough of these lockdowns now. It's got to be like state-based pig-headedness, some of this, where it's like, no, we do things differently.
Oh, it is.
This
No, it is.
how
It's
we do it.
ideological difference.
Yeah.
But you're right. What they are doing right now is akin to it's the inverse of the old adage, rip off the Band-Aid.
Mm.
What they're doing is peeling it back, hair by excruciating hair.
Mm.
And it must just be devastating. We're going to talk to Simon Birmingham a little bit later on our show this morning about...
I'm going to do my column tomorrow, and this is a rare thing. I actually think, as a state, we should thank our Premier and also our opposition leader for taking the really cheap party political potshots and big noting out of the public rhetoric around COVID management in this state. Because one thing we have not had as South Australians is a Premier who, like Mark McGowan, like Anastasia Palaszczuk, like Dan Andrews and like Gladys Berejiklian, and those guys, the amount of squabbling yesterday, the Australian compiled all of the quotes from all of them over the last 2 weeks. Andrews telling Berejiklian she's doing it wrong, Berejiklian making comments about Western Australia, the Western Australians, for no good reason, 3 days ago, coming out and having a crack at New South Wales, saying she's stuffing it all up over there. Like, the really good thing here is, and in terms of the opposition, you look at the way the Victorian opposition has handled it. That Tim, what's his last name? That ratty Liberal bloke who does all the tweets all the time about...
O'Brien?
Yeah, Michael O'Brien's the leader. But they've been running Twitter polls. Should we call him Chairman Dan or Comrade Dan? You know, like, it's just juvenile.
Yeah.
I think here, at least we've had a Premier who... He wouldn't even privately tell you what he thinks about the way the other states have handled it. It's all been civil and it's been mature. And I think early on last year, there were a few times where some of the opposition MPs went a bit too far and were going berserk on Twitter, running everything down. But every time Peter Malinauskas comes on the show, he generally starts by thanking Nicola Spurrier and Grant Stevens for the job they're doing.
Yeah.
So we haven't had that overtly political element to it here in SA that's existed in other states. And I think part of that is our temperament as people. You know, we just seem to be a bit more polite and a bit less highly strung.
To finish that thought, Simon Birmingham will join us after 8:30 to talk about the expansion of the financial assistance available to those in New South Wales and beyond. We'll talk to him about the cost borne by lockdowns and more after 8:30. Kelly Vincent spoke yesterday, the disability advocate, about the fact that Anne-Marie Smith's former carer has pled guilty to manslaughter.
She'll never know, like I do and thousands of other people around this country know, how frightening it can be to rely on someone every day to get you out of bed, to put you in the shower, to put your clothes on. I do just hope she rots in prison.
Rosa Mahoney has admitted to unlawfully killing Miss Smith in April 2020. Previously, police alleged that she left Miss Smith confined to a chair without nourishing food for nearly a year while employed as her primary carer.
It's just horrible, horrible story, isn't it?
And something that was certainly novel yesterday, it'll become less novel as time progresses, but the wearing of masks in high schools had its debut. But this was interesting on Channel 9. They spoke to some of the kids about what it was like.
There's worse things happening, so it's the least we can do really to just put a mask on.
If everyone stays safe and just wears a mask, it minimises the chances of getting sick, so we won't get cases.
We've taken it from a bit of a kindness and empathy perspective, and that is that by doing this, we're actually helping each other.
Showing a really encouraging degree of perspective, those kids.
Yeah, 100%.
There's worse things going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what my son said when I picked him up from school yesterday. I said, how was it? He goes, oh, yeah. Whatever, It is what it is.
13 after 7, let's check traffic. Thanks to Air Conditioning Warehouse Sales. They've got Adelaide's biggest air conditioning brands and best prices, airwaresales.com.au.
At Seaton, got a trucked big parked car on Tapley's Hill Road near Clark Terrace. Parika burst water main there, Main North Road near Montague Road. Speed and lane restrictions apply. And we've also got speed restrictions on the freeway still applying for works on the down track. Cameras on the drive in today, Airport Road, Brooklyn Park, Clark Terrace at Seaton and Henley Beach Road at Fulham. The biggest ever King Winter Sale ends Sunday. Save up to 50% on Australian designed furniture. Visit the King Keswick showroom or shop online, kingliving.com today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEaa.
Leon
Biner.
The community of workers, of which there are many thousands in SA in hospitality, they get hit hard. But the public sector, they have, well, pretty much business as usual. They don't lose a cent.
9 till 12 weekdays.
And I just think it's awfully important that when rules are made by governments, people with skin in the game should be sitting on those committees.
As SA as Leon Biner. As SA as AA.
Get ready to own the city with the Kia Picanto GT hatch. Turn heads with a razor-sharp sports body kit and 16-inch alloy wheels. Inspire your inner enthusiast and tackle the toughest of corners with ride and handling fine-tuned for Australian roads. Feel the excitement from the punchy turbocharged engine and immerse yourself in the sports-inspired cockpit. Book a test drive for your chance to own the city in a Kia Picanto GT hatch. For more details or warranty terms, go to kia.com.au.
G'day, Scotty Cam here. If you're doing some home improvements and you're a little unsure, here's what I'd do. Head down to your local Mighty Helpful Mitre 10. There'll be one nearby. Have a talk to the guys in-store about what you're planning. They'll set you up with all the gear you need. All the quality brands at great prices too. So before you get stuck in, stick your head into your local Mitre 10. They've got everything you need to get the job done right.
Thanks, Scotty. That's Mighty Helpful Mitre 10.
Now, this is fantastic news, not just for Goodings, but indeed it represents how far we've come in just the space of about 10 days. Goodings Warehouse is reopening to the public this Saturday.
That's right. This is awesome news. Now, Goodings is such an iconic South Australian business, and we need to get around them. I love going there. I've been going there for years. There's no need to panic buy, but do pay them a visit and stock up on some amazing products. There's so much to choose from, Will. Where do we start?
Well, there are some great winter saver store deals on tomato and pasta products. There are regular savings on bulk buys, and we know, David, of course, you'll be in there getting to the tzatziki.
That's true. You know, the really good thing about it is you can get all your bulk stuff, like you can get, canned tomatoes and Italian passata and all of that, but then they've got all the fresh stuff too. The taramasalata, the calamata dip, tzatziki, the scordaglià. Their dips are all fabulous. They're famous. You see them in a lot of the supermarkets too. And then all the other stuff too, dairy, flour, baking products, oregano, olive oil, antipasto, beans, every bean you could think of, Goodings garlic, and of course the amazing lamb flavouring nostamini.
So head to Bacon Street, Hindmarsh, and support this fabulous SA business. Goodings, open from this Saturday.
Goulburn Valley. No one wants to spend their weekend in emergency, so if you hurt yourself on a Saturday or Sunday, Dr. Greg Keane says come and see SportsMed instead.
The doctors at our weekend injury clinic can treat any sporting or orthopaedic injuries right away. You won't have to wait all afternoon.
And a standard consult costs less than a private hospital emergency department, right?
Much less.
World-class care without the wait. SportsMed.
Start living life again after your injury.
sportsmed.com.au.
Leon here. I trust Zen Energy for my renewable energy needs. There is no doubt that battery storage is the future of energy in our homes, which is why Zen Energy has a special offer for you. Simply mention FIVEaa to unlock exclusive pricing on Tesla batteries. Join the Tesla Energy Plan and receive $2,000 off the cost of the already discounted Tesla Powerwall 2. You only have until August 13 this year to act. Visit zenenergy.com.au/FIVEaa.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
It is 18 minutes after 7.
Goulburn Valley Gold, luscious fruits now exotic. Goulburn Valley Gold, the taste would drive you wild. Just taste those.
Who can forget the Goulburn Valley Gold ad? The awesome foursome 25 years ago, almost to the day, won gold. Well, yesterday, our foursome were awesome once more, and they won again. And what's more, featuring young South Australian Alex Hill, whose mother joins us now on 5AA Breakfast. Michelle, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
No, well, thanks for joining us, Michelle. Your heart must have felt like it was going to jump out of your chest yesterday. What a proud moment for a parent.
Oh, absolutely. Just amazing. Because I'm still digesting it all even the day after.
So where were you when you watched it?
We were at the Loxton North Sports Club, Alexander's hometown, and just celebrating with or sharing the experience with family and friends. It's just amazing.
This would have been a pretty big deal in Loxton too, I'm imagining. Were there many people at the club, bearing in mind social distancing?
No, exactly. We're very, very thankful that we were out of lockdown, and we would have had 56 people there, which is basically was our 25% capacity limit, and we filled the room with what we could. It was just, very, very, very proud for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Now, everyone listening will draw the conclusion that, you grew up in Loxton, you're on the river, you must have been, rowing, canoeing, doing all that kind of stuff all the time. But reading about Alexander, it sounds like that wasn't the case.
No, look, we certainly did a lot of spent a lot of time on the river, but his actual rowing started when he went to college in Adelaide, in year 10 at Prince Alfred College, and that's where he started. And, the rest is history, as they say.
But he wasn't even into rowing, was he? Because wasn't he using the rowing machine in the school gym just to work out? Because he was into footy, from what I've read. And the school rowing teacher went to him and said, "Hey, mate, you're on the rowing team," just because they picked his talent straight away.
That's right. They saw his ergo results and said, "No, you can't. You're not play footy and cricket. This is what you're playing." I think he was playing cricket at the time, and on the ergo, and they said to him, "No, we'd like you to give this a go," and so he did, and has enjoyed it since.
That's amazing. Yeah. How hard's it been with him being away? Because I know he went to the AIS, and he lives in Canberra normally, doesn't he?
He does. He lives in Canberra most of the time, and look, it is difficult. You do miss a lot of things, and you do. We probably only see for a couple of weeks in a year collectively, and it's a lot of sacrifices that they do make.
Did you get to speak to him after the race? And if so, can he celebrate at all? What can they do over there after you've won gold in the Olympic Village at the moment?
Look, we were very fortunate. They did ring us up after the game, after the event, and we FaceTimed everybody, and that was very special for everybody out north. We did had a late phone call last night as well. They went out and had a quiet dinner, and I'm not sure exactly. I'm pretty sure it was just in the actual village itself, not allowed out. That's very, very strict there with all the COVID stuff happening, and I guess hopefully they'll be able to celebrate properly when they come home.
Where does he fit now in the all-time rankings of Loxton's most famous sports people?
Oh, look, I don't know. In our eyes, he's number one, I guess, but that's our eyes only.
I think Olympic gold's kind of hard to go by. I reckon he's right up there, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you.
It's brilliant, though. It's such a good story, Michelle. We're so happy for you. And to what Will just said, I was just thinking, you think about, like, Betty Cuthbert, the Lithgow Flash.
Yep.
And you say Dean Lucan, and you automatically think of Paul Lincoln. And, the great thing is, apart from what it means for your family, it's going to mean something for forevermore for Loxton that your son did what he did. So good on you.
Absolutely, thank you. We have had a few people come out of the Riverland. We're very, very, very fortunate. A lot of hard work they all put in, and it's wonderful. It is wonderful for Loxton North, the Riverland. Yes.
No, good stuff. Good on you, Michelle. Congratulations to you and the whole family.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for your interest.
No, good on you. What a lovely woman.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw one of the 4 women is from Nil as well.
Yeah.
Halfway to Melbourne. And you think, Nil. You're born in Nil, you end up winning a gold medal in a rowboat.
It's just extraordinary.
It's crazy.
So famous.
I mean, Nil's even wilder because I don't think there's any water there.
Famous athletes from Loxton. Grant Schubert, who is arguably one of the greatest hockey players of all time. Lily Beaton, the Thunderbirds netballer. Grantley Filkey, football. Alex Carey, who, of course, should be the Australian wicketkeeper.
Yes, absolutely.
If, not for the fact.
Loxton's punching above its weight.
Geez, Loxton's pretty solid, isn't it, as far as the country towns go?
Mm.
All right.
Beautiful.
23 minutes after 7, we're going to take a short break. We'll talk. We'll reflect on what Stephen Rowe did on the show last night, covering perhaps the biggest story in world sport at the moment.
At Acres of Lawn, they have everything you need to create a quality outdoor space. So much so, they're opening a new shop and display centre at Aldershot Road, Lonsdale. Get friendly advice, DIY products and landscaping options at your fingertips. Save up to 20% during August on the new range of Acres Lawn and Garden products. Aldershot Road, Lonsdale.
They've got it all. Just give them a call at Acres of Lawn.
G'day, it's Eddie May from NRG Solar. I'm no fortune teller, but if you don't have solar on your roof, I can tell you your next power bill is going to be huge. There's a price for keeping warm all winter, and you're about to pay it. Stop paying huge bills. Get in touch with NRG Solar, and from just $59 a fortnight, you could have a quality NRG solar system on your roof. From just $59 a fortnight, you could wipe out your power bills. Visit nrgsolar.com.au today.
Now, we are deep in winter. Most nights have been freezing, which means it's definitely mini jumbuck time. Keep your family warm and toasty with the mini jumbuck range of wool quilts, mattress toppers and pillows.
What a fantastic company Mini Jumbuck are. 100% South Australian, making Australia's wool bedding products for over 45 years at their factory down in Narracourt. And right now, for our 5AA listeners, they have an incredible offer to keep you warm through these cold winter nights.
Go to minijumbuck.com.au and use the code 5AA. That's the number 5, capital AA, and you'll get 40% off any full-price bedding items. A fabulous offer, 40% off. Plus, you get free shipping to your door on orders over $100. Just enter the code 5AA at the checkout when you order online.
Trust the South Australian band that's been making premium and our favourite wool quilts and bedding for more than 40 years. Visit minijumbuck.com.au for more info and to place your order.
Want to learn to be the boss?
Change the system.
Blaze the trail.
Want to turn your passion into pay?
Ever dreamed of solving the problem?
Helping community.
Setting the trends.
The time to take this course begins today.
At Torrens University Australia, we can transform passion into careers that bring the best out of you.
Find a course that fits you perfectly and follow your heart.
Do what you love.
And love what you do.
Search Torrens University Australia.
You might think having thousands of pals is excessive, but that's not what the team at Parafield Airport Liquor Store think, because that's how many they have. Sure, they might be made up of over 100 gins, over 200 whiskies, over 300 craft beers, and over 2,000 boutique wines. But they're some of the best pals you could have, and they're always looking for more, even if they are tricky to track down. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
The new 5AA Player app lets you listen to all your favourite 5AA shows, news and podcasts wherever you go. Download it now from the App Store.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
27 minutes after 8, Matt Abraham coming up after 7:30. We are getting very close to the $9,000 mark.
Oh, yes.
In the David and Will's Undie Drive for Catherine House in the Hutt Street Centre. We are about 170 odd bucks away from hearing Andy's list. It was drawn from the Challenge Bowl this morning. He's going to challenge your perceptions of music. 5 songs that are actually good. He'll contend and really upset David. There are the 2 promises we're going to make you if we get another just over $100 to get to that $9,000 mark. All you need to do is head to mycause.com.au/undiedrive. Let's reflect on a really big story in the world of sport, indeed something that Stephen Rowe covered last night on the Sports Show. Toyota Land Cruiser 300 Series coming to North Point Toyota. Register your interest today. It is the North Point way. Simone Biles had been slated to take the mantle really from Michael Phelps as the greatest Olympian on earth. It was sort of seen to be a logical handover, really. Someone who could win an extraordinary number of golds at this meet. Hadn't been beaten in gymnastics in 2013, yet at the very start of the team's competition suddenly pulled out, citing a mental health battle that she's currently going through. Rowe last night caught up with Jenny Williams to talk about it.
The pressure of being the best and living up to expectation can weigh heavily, Jenny.
Oh, more than a lot of people know. In fact, I was actually talking to a few people that, you know, everyone says, watch the Olympics, see how great you can be, you know, be the best in the world. But for a lot of people, there are 2 other aspects to that. And that's one, when you actually make it, you know, you start saying, is there all there is? And you look at Simone Biles and someone like her, and she's already won so much and worked so hard, and of course had another year was put off, that all of a sudden I think it's just overwhelming, you know, like to have that much expectation on you. And she's been through some pretty hard things on the way to get there too.
Simone said she felt like she had the weight of the world on her little shoulders, quote unquote, something that I've heard Naomi say, and it's certainly what Liz Cambridge said. So how do you as an athlete, an elite athlete, or even a person at work, when you feel that way, how can you block that out and put it in a little compartment?
Well, not everyone can. That's one of the things that, personality really counts here. And often personality, we don't realise, makes a big difference to who makes it as a champion. But then it's also whether you can stay there and what support systems you've got around you.
It's amazing. There's no chance she's going to compete at all, is there now?
Well, she said she's not going to do the individual components either.
Because the gymnastics is still going.
She probably would have won everything.
Yeah,
absolutely. She's won everything. I mean, she's so much better than the next person. I'm not sure there's many other sporting comparisons. Don Bradman, maybe. In all seriousness,
yeah, totally.
She's a freak, and now her mental health is the subject of a national debate in the United States and around the world. Some people saying, "Well, how can you be a true champ if you walk away?" Other people saying, "Listen,
people
you don't get
are so
to question
bloody
that."
judgmental. And why do people get so upset? I saw Henry Bolt had a crack at her. Like, I didn't even read it, but
people,
I just think, who do you care if she wins a medal or not?
People fans of sport get upset because things are debated in granular detail, and it feels like there's an area that you're not allowed to go to. When someone says mental health, the rules are you don't get to debate it and discuss at any point after that. When you do everything else, and that's the natural part of sport conversation. And so I appreciate the frustration because people want to say, "Can you be the greatest if you walked away?" That's a talkback sports topic, right? But the rules just are you don't get to talk about it, and the reasons are people like Dita Brummer this week. The reasons are because if you have that debate and get it wrong, it's more important that person's well-being than it is you getting to make your point on Twitter or on Talkback, right? And it might not be as the most fun way to engage in a sporting conversation, but sometimes there have got to be rules that protect people.
The stupidity of it, though, is that we are never judgmental about physical health, but we are judgmental about mental health. If it emerged a week ago that she'd been diagnosed with some sort of tumour, everyone would go, "Oh, that's horrible." But the fact that she's at a point where she feels like mentally she's up against it, it's the stuff of, water cooler chat.
Yep.
And I think that shows the whole problem of the lack of perspective a lot of people in the community still have about the reality of mental illness.
That's right. People have lip service to the concept because there will be people listening right now that I'm sure will say you can't fake a tumour. That's what people will be saying.
Yeah. Well, it's sad.
But people suspect there's a proportion of incidents of mental health that are totally fabricated.
Oh no, I think there are. In like court cases where you hear about the person who's robbed 48 banks and it turns out that they were never hugged as a child and they've had psychotic episodes or whatever.
But that goes back to my initial point. In something like the arena of sport, the upside of getting to debate it as though it's are you in form or out of form is not as great as the downside of wrongly fingering someone as being a faker and then they do something to themselves. It's just not worth it. Totally. So you can tweet something or make your point in radio. Yeah, it's not worth it.
100%.
That's just a rule. Yeah. And I'm pretty comfortable with that.
Yeah, totally.
7:30, Matt Abraham in a moment.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 16 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Stiff and sore coming out of lockdown? Call Physio Extra today for an appointment. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
Labor wants a please explain about the financial compensation given to the supercars when the 500 was axed. The admission was made by the Premier in budget estimates yesterday. A number of businesses which were contracted to the event also received a payout. Opposition leader Peter Malinauskas says the government must reveal how much taxpayer money was spent.
Regardless of whether it's $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, that's a lot of taxpayers' money going to supercars for them to not host an event. I'd rather give them the money to host an event and then have all of that attraction to the visitor economy that we know that the race brought.
Labor has pledged to bring back the Adelaide 500 if elected next year. Charges laid following an alleged domestic violence incident at Port Hughes this week have been upgraded to murder. It follows the death of a 37-year-old York Peninsula mother in hospital. There's been a double fatality at Baruta, northeast of Port Pirie. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says a ute left the Augusta Highway and crashed into a tree.
A 40-year-old man from Wailanori and his passenger also from Wailanori, a 61-year-old woman, both died at the scene. 2 other passengers, 14-year-old boy and an 11-year-old boy, both from Wailer Playford, were taken to the Port Pirie Hospital before being transferred to Royal Adelaide. The 14-year-old boy is in a critical condition and 11-year-old boy is in a stable condition.
The rising cost of childcare and the toll it's taking on Australian families is in the spotlight. Inflation figures show fees have increased by 10% over the past 2 years. The Parenthood's Georgie Dent says there needs to be a new approach to early education funding.
It is really obvious that the subsidy model that we have used to fund early education and care is simply pushing up fees.
The Japanese Prime Minister says there's no need to cancel the Olympics as COVID cases rise in the host city. Nine's Natalie Peters reports.
Another 3,177 people have tested positive to coronavirus in Tokyo, the city's highest number of daily infections since the pandemic began. Up to 15% of tests in the city returned a positive result, compared to fewer than 0.2% in New South Wales, suggesting the actual number could be much higher. The Tokyo government says the surge is due to the Delta strain and a 4-day long weekend. The Prime Minister says the Games don't need to be called off because fewer people are arriving. Within the Olympic bubble, 169 people have tested positive.
Businesses are being urged to make sure they're regularly applying software updates to protect themselves from cyber criminals. Cybersecurity agencies in Australia, the US and the UK have released a list of the 30 vulnerabilities that were most commonly exploited in the past 18 months. Assistant Defence Minister Andrew Hastie says everyone needs to take responsibility.
We need to think about this as a country and we need to preserve our digital sovereignty. And that's why we need people to do basic things like use complex passphrases, use multi-factor authentication, update their security and patch their software and back up their data.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get $200 cash back on Bosch washer dryer packages at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. There could be more gold for Australia both in and on the water at the Olympics today after a historic performance at the Games yesterday. Nine's Christina Hearn reports from Tokyo.
For only the 5th time in Olympic history, Australia won 3 gold medals in one day. 25 years after our original awesome foursome won gold in Atlanta, the drought was broken ×2. The men's and women's coxless four taking out the gold. In the same hour, Ariane Titmus won her second gold of the Games in Showdown 2 with American Katie Ledecky in the 200 metres freestyle final. Jess Morrison and Annabelle McIntyre will back up their rowing win yesterday in the final of the women's pair today. While in the pool, Kyle Chalmers will be out to defend his crown in the 100 metres freestyle final.
Yeah, can't wait for that one. Let's go to football, and the teams for the Crows and Bulldogs will be released today, while the squads for Port Adelaide and GWS will also come out. Their game not being played until Sunday. The venue for that match is still yet to be confirmed. To soccer, and Australian coach Ange Postecoglou won't be leading his new side Celtic in the European Champions League next season, and former Adelaide United player Awa Mabil is a big reason why. Celtic led 1-0 in the second leg of their qualifying tie against FC Midtjylland and were on track before Mabil bobbed up with the equalising goal just after the hour mark.
Clipped into the box, headed on towards goal, and there's the equaliser. Brilliant header. Mabil with the equaliser, and Bo Harrison enjoyed that one.
Yeah, great stuff. Midtjylland then scored in extra time to progress, with Celtic now out. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Air Conditioning Warehouse Sales has Adelaide's biggest air conditioning brands and best prices. airwaresales.com.au.
At Seaton this morning, got a trucked v parked car. That's Tapley's Hill Road near Clark Terrace. Paraka got a burst water main North Road near Montague Road causing delays. Speed restrictions on the freeway still apply for works on the down track. And getting busy on the drive in Karata Park, South Road, Anzac Highway to Everard Avenue. That's as you're heading towards Mile End. Cameras on the drive-in this morning, Shannon Street, Birdwood and Regency Road at Prospect. When your life changes, your insurance should too. UE, you insured. Consider the car PDS at ue.com.au when deciding if this product is right for you. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
A sunny Thursday with a top of 16, partly cloudy tomorrow 19, right now at 7. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
21 minutes to 8. I've got in my hand the ultimate segue between sport and spin with Matt Abraham, because in my hand I have the definitive list of sporting champions from Loxton as provided by the member for Chafee, Tim Whetstone.
Excellent.
Okay?
Excellent.
So if you've got any concerns, take it up with Tim. Loxton champs in Olympics. Sophie Eddington, Grant Schubert, Alex Hill, of course, who were gold medal yesterday. The AFL Malcolm Hill, Hawthorn champ, Alex's grandfather.
Yeah, right.
Tony Modra, Russell Ebert, Grantley Filkey, and then in cricket, of course, Alex Carey. Okay, that's the definitive list. I think that's within the purview of the local member to determine the local sporting legends.
Ebert and Mods were big exclusions from the hastily compiled list before 7:30.
Exactly right. Let's get into the spin because there's some pretty unique sort of stuff to discuss. And it looks like Matt's going to endeavour to do it in a fairly unique way with a first person to try and broadcast whilst wearing a mask. Your local Mitre 10 is everything you need to keep warm this winter. That's Mighty Helpful Mitre 10. Morning, Matt.
Good morning, boys.
You don't have to wear it in the studio, though,
I know,
mate.
that's right. It's magic. There we are.
You have to wear it out there with the producers, not in here.
That's right. That's right. Because they're the safest people in the building, I reckon, the producers. Or the sanest.
Yeah. We're taking
it's
our
not
lives
hard.
in our hands in here. Will hasn't even had his first shot yet. He's in the wrong age bracket.
Exactly.
I got my second on Monday. Hey,
yes.
From here on, I'm not going to call you Matt Abraham. I'm going to call you Matt Scoop Abraham. Seriously. Now, you pinged me the other night, mate. I was on the phone to Jack Snelling, talking to him about the formation of the new Family First Party. I'd got a tip, and I was thinking, you beauty, this is a bloody good story. And at the end of the conversation, I said to Jack, this is about 4:30 in the afternoon, I said, mate, so just in terms of timing, this strikes me as a great story. I reckon I can crunch it and jam it into the Oz tomorrow, but does anyone else know about it? And he said, oh, well, actually, yes, Matthew Abraham does. And I got off the phone and I went, Kev Corduroy, Twitter, and there it is.
Sorry.
I love it. I love it. That's exactly what you should do as a journo. Old news hound.
I've got a confession, though, about how old I am. I actually heard about it in the morning, like quite early in the morning. And I thought, I must do something about that. Then I went to the supermarket, did a few, whatever.
You still got it up first.
And then it was about 4 or 5 o'clock, actually. When were you on the phone to him? Must have been a bit late.
I reckon it was pretty much exactly the same time. I reckon I spoke to him just after you'd spoken to him.
And I thought, I ought to ring Snelling and ask him, I suppose. So I did.
Well, I went to Kenyon first.
Yeah.
And then
I
he
did the
said,
same.
talk to Jack.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go. And Jack said to me, this is funny. He said, "Oh, look, would you be able to just sit on this for a while? Because we haven't told him." I said, "Jack, don't ask me to do that." I said, "Don't."
It is an amazing story.
But anyway, it is. What we're talking about is former Labor ministers, Jack Snelling, who, along with Peter Malinauskas, tapped Mike Rann on the shoulder. Remember, and said, "Your time's up." And Tom Kenyon, former MP, minister as well. Who've resigned from the ALP as of, I think, yesterday, after we called them, and are reforming Family First, or they're picking up the Family First brand. And they look serious. And it's one of those things that we shouldn't be surprised, but I was totally poleaxed by it.
I think the surprising thing is how long. I can remember during orientation week at university in 1989 or 1990, Jack Snelling was there as a young Labor person. He was also involved, and this actually, if you think about it, it tells the story of the last few days. He was also a member of the Campus Right to Life grouping. So the two driving forces in his life have always been Catholicism and Labor values, and in the last few years, it's Catholicism that has triumphed because he feels like a lot of people have accused him of quitting the Labor Party. I think he'd probably say, well, actually, no, it's not that. It's the Labor Party sort of quit me. And both parties have, because it now feels to me like I can't pursue these values anymore without being held down as a bigot.
Yeah. And that's very well put. And that's what I think is happening. Not just with Tom Kenyon and Jack Snelling, but with your Alex Antics and the Cole Flints of this world. There's, particularly with the Marshall Liberal government and the Malinauskas Labor opposition, there's a feeling that, well, where do we go? If we've got these views, if we've got what are regarded as very traditional conservative views. And I think they're a lot more widespread than some of the lovies believe. Then where do we go? And so you either infiltrate the party, if you use that term as the Pentecostals are doing in the Liberal Party, or, as Snelling and Kenyon are doing, you form your own party.
Does it represent then a challenge too to Peter Malinowskis? This is always talked about in the context of fractions in the Liberal Party between its conservative and moderate base. But Peter Malinowskis is not exactly Johnny Left. I mean,
I know.
So,
but on key issues that the Liberals have pushed, he has been Johnny Left on the full-term abortions and the voluntary assisted dying legislation. He hasn't followed what you would regard as the right, the traditional Catholic right, as we call it, faction, the Shoppies faction line, the Snelling line, the Kenyon line. I mean, if they were in Parliament, Jack Snelling and Tom Kenyon wouldn't have had a bar of either of those pieces of legislation. And that's not going to the merits or otherwise of them, I'm just saying, but they would not have had a bar of it, ideologically or any other way.
Poses some problems for some sitting members too, doesn't it? Because I'm guessing that in the conservative factions of both parties, there would be issues where if the new Family First 2.0 were currently in Parliament, that they would be finding themselves more aligned with them on a whole host of social issues. I instantly think of someone like Tom Koutsantonis, who we spoke of yesterday, and we know, pick any one of your country conservatives in the Liberal Party, but if you were strictly doing conscious votes, they would be voting much more in step with this new entity than they probably would be their existing party.
Key question for March next year: which party gets hurt the most by Family First running candidates?
That is the key question.
They want to run in all 47 seats. They want to run for the upper house. And you think about the fact that almost 1 in 5 South Australians voted for SA Best in the upper house at the last election, even though they tanked in the lower house. There's a lot of non-rusted-on voters in SA who are always happy to look around for independence.
Oh, yeah. And so what we've talked about is the floating Xenophon votes around, that can be up to 15%. But the hardline Conservative vote, and I was talking to somebody yesterday saying, look, that's always at around 5%. You can count on about 5%. Well, that's enough to get a seat in the upper house.
Yeah.
And in the northeastern suburbs, where there are a lot of Pentecostal churches, and also south of in the southern suburbs, but particularly in the northeast, there are vulnerable seats there for both parties. Tom Kenyon was a member up there. He may run for a House of Assembly seat. I think King is on 0.1%, Paula Luthian's seat. They're vulnerable seats. It doesn't take much there. And the...
you only need 2 policies up there: stop the Safe Schools program and bring back the V8s.
That's it. I'm done. Very simple. Just get that. Yeah, so look, I really don't know how it's going to play out. I see it as a threat to the Liberal Party, but also a threat to Labor there. And you'd have to say that they're a fair chance to at least get an upper house seat.
Do you believe they'll split preferences that they've been indicating to this point? I mean,
well, they say that's what Jack Snelling says. They're not going to do preference deals with Labor or Liberal. He's been very adamant about that. So.
That's now.
Horrible word to
July.
use. Horrible word to use, but what about the rat factor? I saw Paul Starrick in the Tiser wrote a piece saying, regardless of what you think of them, by definition, they are Labor rats. They've ratted on the party that gave them a home for 3 decades. Do you think that there will be a negative perception? And we got some texts yesterday on the Telstra Mount Barker text line going, hang on, Jack Snelling, he's the transforming health guy. Is that going to damage their brand at all?
I don't think so. I mean, I hope we're not both writing about it this Sunday. But
I'm sitting it out. I thought you'd be writing about it.
Thank you. In the Sunday Mail. But I don't... This question of rats, that's a fair call. You can call them rats, Labor rats, because, they both profited under the Labor Party and flourished and got ministries, and no doubt there's super that goes with that. And, now they're sort of dumping that. So, yes, technically that's a great Labor insult that you're a rat.
But they're not.
But I don't reckon it will matter out there in voterland. It's language that's inside. It just won't. Who cares?
Yeah, yeah. I think too that term it's a horrible term, and I actually think it applies more to sitting MPs who quit the party to gain a personal benefit, like becoming the speaker or something like that, because they want the big white car. These guys are actually out of politics and have decided to re-enter it.
And the Labor Party was in office for what is it?
16,
18 years. 16 years. on the vote of a Liberal rat, Peter Lewis.
Yeah, well, that's true.
There weren't no qualms there. That was he was an honourable. We'll make him Speaker. That's not
Martin
that's
Hamilton Smith.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. More trouble than a duck and a log in Macau.
You need a Black Label edition of the program to explain that.
Of Peter Lewis.
Hey, Matt, we got some spin.
Yes.
We got some spin to rate.
Now this is Victorian Assistant Police Commissioner. I forget his name now, but he's variously referred to as Chief Wiggum. I actually quite like him, because he's sort of big and he refers to batshit crazy protesters and all that sort of stuff. But I did like this. He's being asked by Neil Mitchell about how many people are dobbing in people in Victoria over COVID.
Police want you to dob in a protester from Saturday. If you see them on the TV, you know somebody who went, dob them in. Would you? Will you? Is it worth a try? On the line, Assistant Commissioner Luke Cornelius, good morning. Have you had anybody dobbed in yet?
I think the use of the word dob in isn't quite right in this context. This is about identifying people who are engaging in high-risk behaviour, putting all of our lives at risk, and also putting at risk our return to a more normal and freer society. I wouldn't call that dobbing in. I would call that performing in performing in public duty.
Oh, I like that. That's good.
Cornelius has got it. It's not dobbing in. Remember that. It's performing your public duty.
What do you give him?
I am giving him a whopping 8 out of 10.
Yeah. Good score. It's good spin. Good on you, Matt. Good to have you in.
Get your mask back on.
Oh, yeah, don't worry.
Your local Mitre 10 is everything.
Fits over the headphones, by the way.
Don't suggest it. You don't know who's listening. Your local Mitre 10 is everything you need to keep warm this winter. That's mighty helpful, Mitre 10. Let's check traffic. Air Conditioning Warehouse Sales. They've got Adelaide's biggest air conditioning brands and best prices. Airwaresales.com.au.
At Mansfield Park, got a two-car crash, Grand Junction Road at Frederick Street. Seaton, truck v parked car at Tapley's Hill Road near Clark Terrace. Speed restrictions on the freeway still apply for works on the down track. And Paraka, Burstwater Main North Road near Montague Road. Speed and lane restrictions apply. Look out for cameras this morning, Clark Terrace, Seaton and Henley Beach Road at Fulham. Wear a mask in indoor public places, passenger and public transport, healthcare and personal care services. Visit sahealth.sa.gov.au/COVID masks. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Finally, you can get back to the Lion. Get back to early knock-off drinks with your workmates and friends. And we've got something you'll want to come back to the Lion for. $8 glasses of wine. And $10 spritz cocktails, $6 schooners, and that's all tap beers. Back to the Lion. Get back to knock-off drinks, 3 p.m. till 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Get back to where you belong. The Lion, North Adelaide.
How do you know if the milk you're buying is local? Easy. Just look for 3 words. Fluorio Milk Company. If the bottle you pick up has those 3 words on it, Fluorio Milk Company, it's guaranteed to be local. It's guaranteed to be fresh too. And the big plus, you're supporting SA dairy farmers. And for that, we're forever grateful. 3 words. Fluorio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
Now, we all know, David, that you love your local Mitre 10.
That's right, Will. I love it. It's packed full of quality brands at great prices for all those jobs that need to be done around the home and in the garden. The staff are great too. I love them. They'll happily give you guidance on the best products, tools and extra helpful advice to get your DIY projects done.
So if you're planning some home improvements or just have some fix-it jobs to do around the home or in the garden, think mighty helpful Mitre 10. You can now shop in-store or use their click and collect option to order online. Most stores have delivery options available too.
And look, we're allowed to have a bit of fun now too, as long as we do it safely.
That's right.
As long as you're wearing a
Fun's
mask.
back.
If you want to do some gardening on the weekend, if you want to buy some non-essential items, it's not like last week, folks. You can, as long as you're acting safely, use your QR codes, put your mask on while you're walking around, but go there and have a bit of a browse, have a bit of a potter, buy some seedlings, do whatever it is that you want to do. And look, Mitre 10 are there to help. It doesn't matter how big or small the next project is. Mitre 10 can supply everything you need, whether it's great prices on the right products for the job or just some helpful advice. That's mighty helpful. Mitre 10, quality brands at great prices.
Get more at Mawson Lakes Volkswagen with great deals on demos right across the range, all ready to drive away. And if you're impressed with our selection of cars, you'll love our service department with next day servicing, complimentary loan cars and breakfast or lunch on us. Why? Because when you're Adelaide's newest Volkswagen dealer, you want to give more. Visit mawsonlakesvw.com.au to see the range online. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
The new 5AA Player app lets you listen to all your favourite 5AA shows, news and podcasts wherever you go. Download it now from the App Store.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 to 8. Thanks to Dave for letting us know. Traffic situation on Tapley's Hill Road. Traffic taking turns going north and south. Huge delays in both directions. That would be a disaster at this time of morning. So best avoid Tapley's Hill Road where that is taking place. In effect, I imagine it's probably having flow-on effects all over the place. And big thanks too to Deborah for the $100 donation. We're now just $65 short of $9,000 for Catherine House in the Hutt Street Centre for the Undy Drive. mycause.com.au/Undy Drive. Get to $65 more, and we play an Andy's List, challenging your perceptions of popular and quality music and upsetting David. That's worth the $65 investment, or you and 6 friends doing $6.50 each. Chelsea Carey for 9 News is on the line to talk weather. Morning to you, Chelsea.
Good morning, guys. Well, we have a lovely break from the wet and windy conditions we've seen lately. It's a beautiful morning out there, a little chilly under the clear skies. We had a low of 6.8 degrees about half an hour ago. Right now, it's not a whole lot warmer. It's sitting on at 7.1. Will be a gorgeous day, sunny and a top of 16 degrees for the city and Elizabeth, 15 for Noarlunga and Mount Barker. So if you can, get outside and soak up that sunshine. Tomorrow is really looking quite lovely as well. It will be a touch warmer, up to 19 degrees. You might just notice a little more cloud around, and there is a slight chance of a shower in the hills, but the shower does look very unlikely. I think we will still have plenty of sunshine. And then the weekend, though, is when we're really expecting the showers to roll through again. A band of cloud will move across the state, bringing these showers, potentially even thunderstorms along the southern coast. Here in Adelaide, we're looking at 4 to 10 millimetres of rain on Saturday. 17 degrees is the top. Sunday, a couple of showers lingering, maybe 3 millimetres or so across the plains, but you will have some dry breaks on Sunday too, and you will want to make the most of them, because then we have just showers picking up again on Monday and staying with us at Tuesday and Wednesday. So the sunshine today and tomorrow is a bit of a gift, I think, after the weather we've seen lately.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Good on you, Chelsea. Glad to hear that. Chelsea Carey for 9 News here in Adelaide. All right, it's time for John Blake. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
The Office of the Premier of South Australia, the Honourable Stephen Marshall.
I wanted to thank you personally for the great job you've done. Yes, Julian.
Morning, Premier. Would you like a cup of celebratory post-lockdown I'm the greatest Premier ever tea?
Oh, yes, thanks.
Okie dokie, I'll bring it.
This is Premier Stephen Marshall.
Tea, lady!
Oh, good. I'm just going through the script for my post-lockdown commercial.
All right, do you think it's a good idea to be spending taxpayers' money on a self-congratulatory spiel?
Well, it's not self-congratulatory, it's quite the opposite.
Oh, well, I'll wait till I see it and then
I'll read it to you now.
No, I can wait till I...
No, I'll read it to you.
Oh, God. All right.
This is Premier Stephen Marshall.
Brilliant.
Don't be silly.
Sorry.
This is Premier Stephen Marshall. The last week has been very difficult for a lot of people, but we got through it because of the tenacity and bravery of you, the South Australian people. These are difficult times.
No, you used the word difficult twice there.
Oh, all right. Well, what about tricky?
What about challenging?
Oh, Yeah.
Better.
This is Premier Stephen Marshall.
No, don't start from the beginning.
This last week has been very difficult for a lot of people, but we got through it because of the tenacity and bravery of you, the South Australian people. These are challenging times, but with your determination and ongoing resolve, we'll hopefully be very soon able to return to some sort of normality that we've always enjoyed in this wonderful state. What do you think?
Well, I think if you keep giving the general public the credit for everything, they might begin to wonder what you're doing.
Yeah, but if I give them the credit, it makes me look humble.
Well, it would if you didn't have that lazy eye.
What?
And the Bob Hawke mouth.
Julian.
I just think that if you keep saying how great they are and giving them the credit for everything, then it might come across as grovelly.
Oh, they won't think that. People love being complimented.
Give it to me, I'll read it to you with its true meaning.
What do you mean?
We got through it because of the tenacity and bravery of you, the South Australian people. But with your determination and ongoing resolve, we're a goddamn shoe-in to win the next election in a landslide. Yours sincerely, Premier Grovelly Guts.
Did you study psychology?
Yes!
More from John Blake after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors.
We've all been on the road trip from hell. Car breaks down, map says go this way, but you went that way, and countless "are we there yet?" The same can be said for home renos. Nobody wants a nightmare on their way to a stunning new kitchen or bathroom. So if you want everything to go according to plan, go with Buy Urban. They've always believed the journey is just as important as the destination. Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Visit buyurban.com.au.
At Acres of Lawn, they have everything you need to create a quality outdoor space. So much so, they're opening a new shop and display centre at Aldershot Road, Lonsdale. Get friendly advice, DIY products and landscaping options at your fingertips. Save up to 20% during August on the new range of Acres Lawn and Garden products. Aldershot Road, Lonsdale.
They've got it all. Just give them a call at Acres of Lawn.
Now, this is great news. It's always great news from the Wallace family. As a welcome back to retail shopping, they're celebrating with 20% off all homewares, but for 2 days only.
That's right, and day one was yesterday, so it ends today at 5 p.m. Just think of all the scented candles you could buy, David. You're a big candle
I already
buyer.
am, Will. I already am, because I love a Wallace scented candle. But James and Rachel, they've included everything in their homewares sale, so it's not just exclusive for scented candle enthusiasts. It includes gifts, wall art, handbags, clothing, jewellery, cushions, cookware. What have I missed?
Well, if you read them all out, it'd be 5 p.m. and people couldn't get into it, take advantage of the sale. So get in and check it out for yourself. It is just extraordinary, their range.
That's right. Water bottles, glassware, tableware, mugs, placemats, serving platters, baby gifts, fragrances, and did I mention candles?
No, you did multiple times. Off air too. 20% off homewares at Wohlers, but only until 5 p.m. today. Wohlers, Mount Barker, Richmond and Tanunda.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 16 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Trust Physio Extra. Norwood, Purie Street, Marion, Hallicove, Seaford and Victor Harbour. PhysioExtra.com.
Well, the lockdown prompted more South Australians to roll up their sleeves and get a COVID jab. 79,609 doses were administered in SA during the week-long shutdown. That's a 15% increase in doses on the previous 7 days. Health Minister Stephen Wade isn't surprised that we answered the call to get jabbed.
It's yet another example of the world-class response from the South Australian public. They've stepped forward during the lockdown and observed the lockdown. They honoured their vaccine commitments during the lockdown. And we're very keen that they continue to back the public health advice with the fresh challenges as they're coming.
Fully vaccinated travellers from the United States and the European Union will no longer have to quarantine when they arrive in England. Nine's Steve Marshall has more from London.
The rule change comes as the UK government faces mounting pressure from the aviation industry to exempt double-jabbed American and European travellers. Currently, people arriving from the US and EU countries must have been vaccinated in the UK to avoid having to self-isolate for 10 days. From Monday, people who have been fully vaccinated in these amber-listed countries will no longer have to quarantine. Travellers will still be required to undertake pre-departure COVID tests and take another test 2 days after they've landed, similar to existing rules for fully vaccinated people arriving from Australia.
And Netflix has become the first major Hollywood studio to implement a blanket policy requiring COVID vaccinations for the casts of all their US productions. It also covers those who come into contact with the cast on set. A woman's been arrested after a pursuit north of Adelaide. Just before 1:30 this morning, police spotted a Mitsubishi SUV on Denver Drive at Parafield Gardens with false plates. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says it was followed along Port Wakefield Road, Salisbury Highway and the Port River Expressway before being successfully spiked on South Road at Torrensville.
The car continued for a short time before crashing into a light pole. The driver attempted to run from the scene but was caught a short distance away. So checks revealed that car was actually stolen from Hillcrest on the 4th of July. So that woman, a 23-year-old from Parafield Gardens, has been charged with illegal use and will appear in court on the 23rd of September.
The state road toll for the year now stands at 60 after a double fatality on the Augusta Highway at Baruta. A ute left the road and hit a tree yesterday afternoon. The driver, a 40-year-old man, and the front passenger, a 61-year-old woman, died at the scene. A 14-year-old boy is in a critical condition. An 11-year-old boy is stable. The National Gallery of Australia will return more than a dozen artworks to India. The museum has determined the works acquired between 1989 and 2009 were looted, illegally exported or otherwise unethically traded. A woman who pulled off a multi-million-dollar diamond heist by swapping the gems for pebbles has been found guilty in a London court. The BBC's Electra Naismith reports.
It sounds like the script of a Hollywood crime caper. Lulu Lucatos posing as a diamond expert to value the gems at a prestigious London jeweller's, supposedly acting for wealthy Russian buyers. While the jeweller waited for payment, the diamonds were secured in a purse in a basement vault. But when checked the next day, all the purse contained was 7 garden pebbles. A quick check of CCTV footage revealed Miss Lucatos carrying out the sleight of hand switch. The diamonds, worth an eye-watering $5.8 million, have never been recovered.
American group ZZ Top have lost their bass player Dusty Hill at the age of 72. The founding member passed away in his sleep after suffering hip issues. The American trio had a string of hits in the 1980s, including this one. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get $200 cash back on Bosch washer dryer packages at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
What is happening in Tokyo, Tom Wren?
Well, Mel, Australia is still buzzing following a stunning 3 gold medals on day 5 of the Olympics. 2 of them came in the rowing, with the women's and men's fours winning. South Aussie Alexander Hill was one of those who achieved the ultimate, the Loxton local creating plenty of joy in his hometown. His mum Michelle was watching on with many in the town, and she told David and Will it was great to share the moment with so many.
We would have had 56 people there, which is basically was our 25% capacity limit, and we filled the room with what we could. It was just, very, very, very proud for everybody.
Yeah, great stuff. Heading into day 6 of the Olympics, Australia sits in 5th place on the medal tally with 6 gold, a silver and 9 bronze. Overnight there were wins for the Boomers, Hockeyroos and Kookaburras, but the Olyroos campaign has ended after a 2-0 loss to Egypt.
An update from Japan, thanks to the new Kia Cerato GT. Get mean.
Well, there's still no final decision on where the Melbourne and Suns and Giants and Port Adelaide games will be held on Saturday and Sunday respectively. Meantime, Port Adelaide has broken its all-time membership record with 61,687 members now on board. Great stuff. The Adelaide Thunderbirds have recorded their 4th win of the season after a stunning 61-60 upset against the Sunshine Coast Lightning. The T-Birds can't make the finals, but there's still a chance to climb as high as 5th. And the Victoria Racing Club is pushing ahead with a plan to host thousands of racegoers during the Melbourne Cup Carnival at Flemington. Event planners are facing the ongoing threat of more lockdowns and the chance of losing hundreds of thousands of dollars if they can't proceed. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Air Conditioning Warehouse Sales has Adelaide's biggest air conditioning brands and best prices. airwaresales.com.au
At Wingfield, got a car broken down on the north-south motorway heading outbound, causing delays Regency Road to the Port River Expressway. Mansfield Park, two-car crash, Green Junction Road at Frederick Street. Seaton, truck v parked car, Tapley's Hill Road near Clark Terrace, and Paraka burst water main there, Main North Road near Montague Road. Speed and lane restrictions apply. Look out for cameras, Military Road, West Beach, and Sir Donald Bradman Drive at the Adelaide Airport. If you're looking for great value on a great network, switch to Optus today. Get a huge 80 gigs for $55 and a month-to-month SIM plan. Visit Optus online today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Sunny 16 today, partly cloudy tomorrow 19, Saturday showers and 17 degrees. Right now it's 8. More news as it happens on 5AA.
When people walk through the doors at Pals, the first thing they say is wow. Not only because of the size and the selection, but also because of the team. Sam and Jamie have tasted every drop. They and their team can recommend a whiskey that's just as good as that hard-to-find Japanese one, if they don't have it, that is. Or a beautiful red that's reminiscent of that outstanding cellar door you once travelled so far to visit. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Keep on running. The new 5AA Player app lets you listen to all your favourite 5AA shows, news and podcasts wherever you go. Download it now from the App Store.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
9 minutes after 8. South Australian Olympian and bronze medalist Rowan Dennis is going to join us in just a moment. Yesterday, thrilling time trial. He got the bronze. Looking forward to chatting with him. That's coming up in about 10 minutes' time. Breaking 8 in just a moment, but also some exciting news. We have crashed through $9,000 in the Undy Drive.
Excellent.
Thanks for Catherine House and Hutt Street Centre. The Challenge Bowl came out earlier. The challenge was for Andy this morning to come up with a list of songs that are actually good. Songs that are actually good. Here we go. Number 5.
This is how you remind me of
Oh, dear.
Stop it.
I'm so excited about the next 4 after number 5. Let's go. Number 4. Hang on. I'm just rereading the challenge here.
Oh my God.
Top 5 songs that are actually good.
There's no way number 4 is even remotely good.
This is Andy's list. Is always right because it's Andy's list. Here's number 3.
I swam across, I jumped across for
It's one of your favourites, Dave.
Oh, yes.
oh, what a thing to do.
It was all yellow.
'Cause you were all
Okay, number 2.
I'll pay this.
You pay this.
I like the song. Handsome. She wrote that before she won the seat of Ipswich. One Nation founder Pauline Hanson's favourite band.
Big Hanson guy, David. Know that. And number 1, a bad song that's actually good.
Don't tell my heart, break your heart. Just don't think you'd understand.
My mum will be happy.
And if you tell my heart, my achy, breaky heart, he might blow up and kill this man.
Billy Ray. Oh, that is fantastic. That was
Billy
well worth
Ray.
the investment. What upset you the most on the list?
Oh, clearly Nickelback. That was just
It was a
absurd.
cracking start.
But number 4, seriously. Like, unless you're an 8-year-old, doing some sort of romper room type dancing, no one likes that song.
That was terrific. That was
Agadoo.
today's. I'm looking forward to what's in the Challenge Bowl tomorrow morning. We got up to $9,000 just then for the Hutt Street Centre and Catherine House. Another challenge is on the way tomorrow. All right, let's go breaking at 8.
We're going to keep today's breaking at 8 quick because we've got a packed dance card and we've got a special guest here in the studio. But look, in a nutshell, there's a growing sense of frustration in country South Australia, not just about the blunt instrument of lockdowns, but the fact that country areas, in particularly remote, very remote country areas like over on the West Coast and so forth, where there's been no cases of COVID, are so slow in having the post-lockdown restrictions lifted. Now, the words used by the Premier from memory at the presser the other day were, we went in as a state and we will come out of this as a state, and he conceded that there had been discussion at the Transition Committee about whether there could be a different approach for regional areas. Well, I can say that the sense of frustration is epitomised by a letter that I've received from Fraser Ellis, the member for Narunga that's had some coverage over on Yorks. He wrote a letter to the Premier the other day saying, from the contact I am receiving, the distress and hardship being experienced by Narunga constituents is very real, and it's doing great harm to so many people, both financially and emotionally. I thus humbly request due consideration of applying a tiered lift out of the lockdown so as much damage can be avoided as is possible. One example of this, I think, and it's from a text we got on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line this morning, Peter in Happy Valley, talking about the state of play with country shows. We understand the Crystal Brook show, scheduled to be held next Saturday, cancelled. And there's also a question mark over the country shows in Port Lincoln, Whyalla and Gawler, each of which is scheduled to be held before the next Royal show. So a growing sense of frustration for many country communities, a lot of them in places where you couldn't find COVID for love or money.
Now, during the news, bumped to a very special guest in the hallway who apparently comes bearing gifts. We'll find out who and what in just a moment.
Want to be part of a retirement community designed around your well-being? At the 4 Lend-Lease villages across South Australia, you'll feel connected and safe, so you can focus on being happy. Search Lend-Lease Retirement SA for a personal appointment.
At Acres of Lawn, they have everything you need to create a quality outdoor space. So much so, they're opening a new shop and display centre at Aldershot Road, Lonsdale. Get friendly advice, DIY products and landscaping options at your fingertips. Save up to 20% during August on the new range of Acres Lawn and Garden products. Aldershot Road, Lonsdale.
They've got it all. Just give them a call at Acres of Lawn.
Now, have you ever heard the saying, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey? Well, could not be truer than when it comes to home renovations. Look, it's hard to get excited about a new bathroom or kitchen if the entire process is a living nightmare.
At Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, it is all about the journey. Coxie and the entire team, they're fantastic. They go to amazing lengths to make sure the process is trouble-free. From meeting Tammy, one of the owners, affectionately known as the Boss Lady, through their incredible design team and millimetre-perfect tradespeoples, the tidiest tradies you'll ever meet, and what's more, they're on time.
Start your journey to a stunning and worry-free home renovation with Urban Bathrooms, Kitchens, Flooring and Shutters. Adelaide's home renovation experts. Visit buyurban.com.au.
Dr. Greg Keane explains how SportsMed puts patients first every day.
SportsMed is different. We have a clinic and hospital with specialists, doctors, physios and podiatrists all together in one location. There's also pathology, radiology, pharmacy and a cafe. This makes life easier for our patients because their appointments can all happen right here. It also lets us diagnose issues quickly, leading to high quality, cost-effective care.
And their patients love it. SportsMed.
Start living life again with our expert help.
Sportsmed.com.au.
It isn't waste until you waste it. That's the catch cry from an amazing company called Eco Waste Solutions. Eco Waste Solutions is a hard waste recycling facility, not a dump, located at Williston. They'll take everything except hazardous waste and food scraps. They'll take your waste bricks, your mattresses, tyres, soil, timber, steel, concrete and more. Plus, if you pre-sort your load, you receive a 50% discount on disposal fees. Google Eco Waste Solutions Williston for more.
Before Adelaide 4x4 and Outdoor.
After Adelaide 4x4 and Outdoor. Put some muscle in your four-wheel drive and head to Adelaide 4x4 and Outdoor. Adelaide's home of Ironman 4x4. Goodwood Road, Wayville and a new store now open on South Road, Morford Vale.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5AA Breakfast.
17 minutes after 8. I had to do a double take of the rundown. Saw Ian Horn from the AHA out in the corridor a short time ago. Hang on, are we talking hotels? Are we talking pubs this morning? He's here in the building and he's here in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. Ian, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will, and good morning, David.
What brings you in?
Well, we're fascinated with this thing called the Undies Drive.
And I know what undies are, but we thought, what is it? And then, of course, we realised that you're supporting one of our industry's great couple of charities, that's Hutt Street and Catherine House. And they do such an important job for our community, for our homeless, for those under threat, but never more so than during COVID and since COVID. And so under our banner, Pubs with Heart, and that's all the pubs who generate income from gaming machines, through their organisation that collects the monitoring fees, they've the Independent Gaming Corporation, they've allocated or asked us to allocate and offer $10,000 to your fund.
Wow! To the Undie Drive.
And
that more than doubles the total tally of the Undie Drive.
And it's just a no-brainer. And I go further and say, look, it's an opportunity for other industry sectors to do the same and up the ante.
Mate, that is so generous.
Oh, that is incredible.
$10,000, I reckon it's probably the biggest donation we've ever got.
I would
think
think
so. The biggest one-off donation. That is absolutely staggering, mate. $10,000.
Because the other thing is it sets a precedent for next year.
Yes. Yeah, well.
That's right.
It ups the
Be
ante.
careful. Be careful. You've got to think this through. It'll become an annual event.
Well, you know what? And look, we've spent a bit of time talking about it. We were talking about it on the show this morning. That kind of generosity from probably the sector and the group of people that have been hardest hit during the last 18 months, that's honestly phenomenal. That's overwhelming.
Well, it's been an extraordinary year. In fact, at no stage in the history of Australia has every pub across Australia from the Pacific Ocean to the Indian Ocean been shut. Not in world wars or anything.
Yeah.
But we've had it last year, and we're continuing to have lockdowns imposed. But that aside, hotels still remain, in many areas, the heart of the community. They're the place of celebration and commiseration.
Yeah, that's so true. I know, like in the case of my local, I've had wakes there. I've had buck shows that have kicked off in the beer garden there and then headed into town. Like, you just automatically, when you catch up with friends from your neighbourhood, like, you know, school dads and what have you, you immediately think of your local. When my younger kids were down at Grange, you know, we'd catch up at the Seaton Hotel. Like, you know, all these pubs are such a part of the fabric. And but to Will's point though, Ian, like, mate, it is a genuinely amazing act of generosity at a time when pubs have had their revenue smashed, you've had staff having their hours reduced, that you've been able to do this, and we go from $9,000 to $19,000.
In an instant. $19,000 for Catherine House and the Hutt Street Centre.
I like the gentle to the other industry groups out there, because there's plenty of them.
Well, you've made them. Look, I mean, they're going to have a good look in the mirror after this.
I mean, we don't want to name names.
No, we don't want to have to.
No, we don't have to name names.
If we get to Friday next week and a few of them haven't stood up and followed the lead of the AHA, they might find themselves being shamed into submission.
That's right.
Thank you so much. Honestly, on behalf of the Catherine House and Hutt Street Centre, who would be falling off their chairs wherever they're listening to from this right at the moment, just incredible. And from us, Ian, just thank the individual pub owners and the people that have dipped into their pocket to help these wonderful charities.
Well, it is a great pleasure on their behalf, and certainly this is something that goes on behind the scenes all the time. And just very quickly, just in the last couple of years, we've installed the hotel industry through this funding mechanism of Pubs with Hearts have installed over 300 defibrillators outside country pubs, $250,000 project. And again, that's if you're going to have a heart attack, have one near a pub in the country.
Yeah, why not?
Because there'll be a defib there.
No better place.
We just got a message from the Hutt Street Centre. Oh my goodness, amazing. Thank you, AHA and the hospitality industry. Absolutely well said from the Hutt Street Centre. Ian, we can't thank you enough. That was just absolutely extraordinary. We were saying it was a record-breaking pace that the first 2 days had been. Well, the record books have just been completely exploded based on your generosity in that donation. So thank you so much. Appreciate you coming in.
And look, I'm sure we'll take your call next year too.
Yeah.
Good on you, mate.
We look forward to it being the start of a long and happy relationship. Ian Horn, head of the AHA, who have just donated $10,000 to Dave and Will's Undie Drive. We are at, let's say it again, $19,000
That is excellent.
for Catherine House and the Hutt Street Centre. That is just a fantastic good news story this morning. So too is the story of our next guest, who yesterday claimed bronze in the time trial in Tokyo. Geez, it was heart-stopping at the end. There's final few riders coming through. It was an extraordinary ride. Adelaide's own Rowan Dennis joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Rowan, congratulations to you, mate.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me as well.
How much do you know when you're getting into the final leg of a time trial about where you're sitting? I mean, it's easy for us sitting there at home watching all the splits and getting a sense of you're in the medals, you're not. What did you know as you're coming down what honestly looked like the most torturously long straight in the history of road cycling?
You described it quite well. It was not a whole lot. I knew it was close, but that's about it. I knew it was within seconds, so more or less I just had to do everything I possibly could to get to the finish line as fast as I could and try not to worry about how ugly I looked while I was doing it. So, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how to ask this question because it is breakfast, but we saw riders in various stages of physical distress, and we know what the conditions are like over there. Can you give us, to the people that aren't cycling aficionados, a bit of an insight into the stresses on your body as you come to the end and you get off the bike after a time trial like that?
I won't go into too much descriptive.
Please, yeah, thank you.
In some of the stuff, but I'd say at the end of it, you feel drunk. Not in a good way either. Not that tipsy, fun drunk, but really not in a good way. Really dry mouth, even though it's quite humid here, and actually I still feel a little bit hungover from the effort as well. So
Wow.
It just keeps dragging on. Even if I've had it at the same time when I've won other events, you get the same feeling, and it takes a while to get over it, to be honest with you.
So, what's it been like with all of the tight restrictions around movement and socialising and everything else, Rowan? And obviously, a lot of Olympics people have their families travel with them, they have their partners with them. Has it been quite an isolated experience? You've been able to celebrate the way you'd normally like to?
Honestly, well, pre-race it wasn't too much of an issue at all. It keeps you more focused. You're not trying to sightsee or go out and do things. You just go train, you come back, you rest, you recover, and you eat. The only thing we had to do was every now and then find a quieter place to eat instead of being around all the other athletes that are in the hotel, just to mitigate any potential risk of being a close contact. But it wasn't too much of an issue. We live with this sort of stuff in Europe all year round, so it's not a big difference. And the only thing I've found is that after the race now I have to ship out today instead of enjoying the sights in Tokyo a little bit, and that's a bit of a shame. I love the country. I've been here a couple of times, and
so you're back to Europe today?
Yeah, tonight go back to Europe.
Oh, geez.
How do you compare winning medals in track and road cycling? How's the experience? How do you value sort of the experience of both, having success in both endeavours?
I'd say it's a little bit different. Obviously, with the track, it was a team event, so it was a group of us having to come together, which is a special thing in itself. But individual events are very much yourself on the road, but still a group of people behind the scenes that have worked closely with just you. But the one thing that's different with that is you've got nobody else to blame if you lose but yourself. So which is also a nice thing. There's no it's all on you, and you know that whatever you get or don't get, it's because of your efforts.
So, mate, where'd you grow up in Adelaide? And are your folks still here? Is there anything you'd like to say to them?
Yeah, I grew up young days. I was in Salisbury Heights, and we moved closer to the city in Vale Park. My parents are still there. Well, not in Vale Park, but they're still in Adelaide. I'm not sure if they listen, but I didn't know if I was doing this interview. Otherwise, I would have told them. But yeah, I've spoken to them a little bit yesterday. There was a lot of people wanting a bit of a piece of me, and they're quite proud.
Sure, they are
proud to be their son as well. So, yeah.
Well, Rowan,
good on you, mate.
Well, and I imagine the flight back to Europe will be all that more enjoyable when you've got the bronze medal in your kit bag. Congratulations to you, mate. It was thrilling viewing yesterday.
Thank you. And I'll celebrate on the plane instead of on the ground in Tokyo.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Absolutely. Enjoy it. Rowan Dennis won the bronze. It was honestly, it was fantastic viewing. And you're seeing the best cyclists in the world try to chase down times. And it was watching it all unfold over a couple of hours.
42 Ks and they're doing 1 hour.
It is just, and there's a climb in there. It's not a flat track. Yeah.
Oh, unbelievable.
Absolutely grueling. All right, we are going to take a break, but first we'll check traffic thanks to Air Conditioning Warehouse Sales. They've got Adelaide's biggest air conditioning brands and best prices, airwaysales.com.au.
At Seaton, got a trucked v parked car on Tapley's Hill Road near Clark Terrace causing delays. Paraka burst water main there, Main North Road near Montague Road. Speed and lane restrictions apply there. Also got speed restrictions on the freeway still applying for works. That's on the down track. And cameras on the drive-in this morning. Anzac Highway, Glenelg North, Clark Terrace at Seaton and Henley Beach Road at Fulham. Make sure you've covered. Wear a face mask to protect yourself and others from COVID-19. Find out more at sahealth.sa.gov.au/COVID masks. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
During winter, your immune system is important to help fight colds and flu. So try Arbor Vitae supplements to help support the health and function of your immune system. Arbor Vitae comprises potent natural anti-inflammatory and antioxidant ingredients that can support and offer relief to a range of ailments. Arbor Vitae supplements may also help maintain healthy blood glucose and cholesterol and support cognitive function, eye health and immune function. Arbor Vitae can be bought over the counter at chemists and health food stores all across South Australia. For the list of stockists, visit arborvitae.com.au. That's ARBORVITAE.com.au. Follow the directions for use. This medicine may not be right for you. Read the label before purchase. If symptoms persist, talk to your health professional. You can call and order on 1300 879 863 or check out the Facebook page and see firsthand what people have to say about the benefits of Arbor Vitae.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
The internet, it's worldwide and it's unstoppable, or it was. You have the power to hit pause and give your family a break. If you've got kids, you probably also have a concern that they're spending too much time online. Trend Micro Device Security Ultimate gives parents the ability to set time limits across all devices, not just computers. It will work on gaming consoles, smart TVs, phones, or any other device that connects to the home network. Plus, Trend Micro will filter and protect your family from the parts of the internet you don't want in your home. Get into Harvey Norman now and ask for Richard's Special, the Trend Ultimate Device Bundle plus a year's subscription for just $129.
Check out these great offers at 5AA.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 16 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Stiff and sore coming out of lockdown? Call Physio Extra today for an appointment. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
The lockdown resulted in a record number of South Australians getting a COVID vaccine. There was a 15% increase in doses during the week-long shutdown compared to the previous 7 days. Health Minister Stephen Wade says if you haven't rolled up your sleeves yet, there's no time like the present.
There's plenty of AstraZeneca appointments available. It's a strong, safe, effective vaccine. And even for those who are not eligible for AstraZeneca, those that are eligible for Pfizer, I'd encourage you to keep going back to the vaccine booking site because there are appointments opening up all the time. Even today, there are a number of appointments that one could get with a GP clinic.
The Prime Minister is urging people to bring forward the second dose of their COVID vaccine in a bid to fully reopen the country. People who've had their first dose of AstraZeneca can get their second dose after 4 weeks instead of waiting several months. Until now, the medical advice has been waiting 12 weeks, meaning the vaccine is more effective. But Scott Morrison says it can be done much sooner.
This is the vaccine that vaccinated the United Kingdom. This is the vaccine that is the most recognised vaccine in the world and has saved millions of lives. And we have it, we're producing it in Melbourne, and it can really help us hit the targets that we want to hit. That's simply what I'm saying.
Victoria has announced 7 new COVID cases today. 6 are linked to the current outbreak and were in isolation during their infectious period. The other is a traffic controller at a drive-through testing centre. The cause of that one remains a mystery. 2 people have died and a third is in a critical condition after a crash at Baruta near Port Pirie. Kendall Brettig reports.
Emergency crews were called to the Augusta Highway yesterday afternoon after reports a ute had left the road and crashed into a tree. The driver, a 40-year-old man, and the front passenger, a 61-year-old woman, both of Waialanori, died at the scene. The 2 other passengers, a 14-year-old boy and an 11-year-old boy, both of Waiala Playford, were taken to the Port Pirie Hospital and then flown to the RAH for treatment. The 14-year-old is critical and the 11-year-old boy is stable. Major crash officers are investigating and ask anyone who may have witnessed the crash to call them. The 2 deaths take the number of lives lost on our roads this year to 60. It was 55 a year ago.
Concerns the rising cost of childcare is having a serious effect on Australian families. Out-of-pocket costs for early learning and care have increased by 10% over the past 2 years. The Parenthood's Georgie Dent says everyone deserves easy and affordable access.
Regardless of what your parents do, where you live, what your parents earn or don't earn, we need to make universal, high-quality early learning and care a priority in Australia.
American actor Bob Odenkirk is in a stable condition after suffering a heart attack on the set of Better Call Saul. He collapsed during filming in New Mexico. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get $200 cash back on Bosch washer dryer packages at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Australia sits 5th on the medal tally in Tokyo following a stunning Day 5 which saw the Aussies record 3 gold and 3 bronze medals. South Aussie Rowan Dennis got a bronze himself in the men's time trial event for cycling, and he told David and Will the hot and humid conditions made things extremely difficult.
At the end of it, you feel drunk, not in a good way either, not that tipsy fun drunk, but really not in a good way. Really dry mouth, even though it's quite humid here, and actually I still feel a little bit hungover from the effort as well.
To football, and more news is expected today on where Port will be playing its match against GWS on Sunday. Gold Coast remains the likely destination. Meantime, Carlton forward Charlie Curnow is available for selection and could make his long-awaited return against St Kilda tomorrow night. Former AFL coach Ross Lyon, though, telling Nines Footy Classified, sometimes you have to save a player from themselves.
I can't fathom it. He's missed 2 years of football, significant patella kneecap issues. You can only go off the information. He's played 2 reserve scratch matches, not even legitimate 18v18 club. They're unlikely or can't make the finals. I could understand if it was 4 and he's ticked them off, but 2?
And former Adelaide United player Awa Mabil has played a starring role for Danish side FC Midtjylland as they qualified for this season's European Champions League. He scored as his side beat Ange Postecoglou's Celtic 2-1 this morning. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Air Conditioning Warehouse Sales has Adelaide's biggest air conditioning brands and best prices. airwaresales.com.au.
At Seaton, got a trucked v parked car on Tapley's Hill Road near Clark Terrace causing delays. Paraka burst water main there. Main North Road near Montague Road. Speed and lane restrictions apply there. Also got speed restrictions on the freeway still applying for works. That's on the down track. And cameras on the drive-in this morning. Anzac Highway, Glenelg North, Clark Terrace at Seaton and Henley Beach Road at Fulham. Make sure you've covered. Wear a face mask to protect yourself and others from COVID-19. Find out more at sahealth.sa.gov.au/COVID masks. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
A top of 16 for your Thursday and sunny, partly cloudy tomorrow up to 19, then showers on Saturday. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Foodland's owned by South Australian families like mine. Like our second home, we ensure our stores are safe. Great families, great locals and great food lives here.
Foodland, the mighty South Aussies, yeah!
Great news, David. The Goodings warehouse is reopening to the public from this Saturday.
An absolute South Australian icon. I've been shopping at Goodings for years. It's such a great South Australian business, and look, we need to get around them. They actually started operations in Adelaide in 1971. 50 years ago. So pay them a visit and stock up on some amazing products, Will. There's so much to choose from. Where do we even start?
Well, I mean, you're the man to ask, but I've got some suggestions too. The great Winter Saver store deals on tomato and pasta products. That's not bad. What about regular savings on bulk buys? So just get lots of everything. That's always a good idea. And also, we know you are a massive fan of the tzatziki, so you'll be bulk buying that, I'm guessing.
Can't have the Greek lamb without it, not to mention all of the wonderful dips to start the meal, the calamata olive dip, the taramasalata, the scordaglià. There's cheap olive oil, fantastic olive oil in the huge 4-litre and 2-litre cans. All the antipasto you need. Beautiful Gaganis garlic, save you the trouble of peeling it. And, of course, the amazing nostimini. They have a huge range of charcoal for your... And you don't want to use, well, gas for burner. Use the real stuff, charcoal, along with fabulous charcoal rotisseries and barbecues. Also, a lot of fantastic kitchen, cookware, baking and homeware goods.
So head to Bacon Street, Hindmarsh, support this fabulous South Australian business. Gaganis, open from this Saturday.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes to 9. David and Will's Undie Drive is officially off the chain. We're up to $19,500 for the Hutt Street Centre and Catherine House. Ian Horn from the AHA a short time ago donated $10,000, came in live to the studio to make that incredible donation. We've blown away previous years by that far. It's not funny. And we're going through to Friday next week.
This is great.
There's a lot more to come, and there's a lot more in the Challenge Bowl to come too, and some of it is going to be a hell of a lot of fun for everyone who's not the subject of the challenge.
Yes.
Now, we've also got some good news from the wonderful people at Chanella's who have donated $500. Got us, Chanella's, quite aside from being an awesome place to shop, it's just the best of everything.
Done a lot of meat trays. Done a lot of meat trays over the years as well.
I was going to say they come on board and support absolutely everything we do. We come up with a concept for a charity or to help a cause. Chanella's are on board, and they've done so again. $500 is a fantastic contribution, and we thank them. We're going to get to $20,000 by the end of the week, and I think we're going to get significantly.
I reckon we get there by the end of the show.
Quite possibly. But by tomorrow, we're going to go well past that because tomorrow's is something else. Tomorrow, what we've got planned for you is going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you are listening right throughout the morning and ready to donate by going to mycause.com.au/Undie Drive. 20 minutes to 9. Let's turn our attention to federal politics and some of the question marks with regard to assistance that the federal government has been providing for businesses and individuals as a result of lockdowns in what was South Australia, but certainly New South Wales for the next 4 weeks. The Finance Minister federally is South Australia's Senator Simon Birmingham. Senator, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. Good to be with you.
Thanks for joining us, Birmo. Before we get to the detail around these payments, can I just ask, I thought it was heartening to hear the Prime Minister yesterday, and I know there's been a few missed targets in the past 6 months, but he said that by the end of this year, he thinks that lockdowns will be a thing of the past.
Well, we're going to have updates over the next couple of days, including a prelim talk at National Cabinet tomorrow about the modelling work we're getting done by the Doherty Institute, leading health researchers here in Australia, doing research looking at what's happening around the world with the Delta variant and what type of vaccination rates are going to be necessary for us to open up and how we can open up, and obviously seeing an end of lockdowns is a key part of that. Now, even if the vaccine program had continued just at the rate it had been rolling out at in June, for example, we could have hit 70% of the whole Australian population this year. It's ramped up significantly since then, with extra doses coming in from overseas, with extra outlet points opening up and distribution points around the country. And we had around 200,000 vaccines administered in the last 24 hours, and we're up past or around the 11.6 million dose total. And so that gives us real confidence that if Australians keep turning out and getting those jabs, then we're going to be able to get potentially some world-leading rates in terms of vaccines administered, and that can put us in the best possible position with the right medical advice to hopefully end lockdowns and start the transition out of the COVID phase.
Is ending lockdowns within the purview of the federal government, though? What stops various states saying, well, we will stop lockdowns when it's 70%, and now our medical advice says it's 80% when we can stop lockdowns? What capacity do you have to actually enforce an end to lockdown?
We don't have the capacity to enforce, but that is precisely why it's a process we're taking through the National Cabinet. It's why we'll be briefing the National Cabinet members, all the premiers and chief ministers, on the prelim findings of the Doherty Institute work, and why the Prime Minister is going to keep taking them on that journey. There have been some, I think, quite sensible comments from Dan Andrews, for example, who said, ultimately he doesn't want to lock down to protect people who won't protect themselves, and that was a reflection on the fact that we want to get to a point where every single Australian has had the opportunity to get vaccinated. We're seeing, as I said, the vaccine rollout really ramp up. We're now at around 78% of the over 70s have had a first dose, so that's getting very close to 80% take-up in that category, and urge everybody to make sure they follow through, get their second dose. Around 64% of over 50s have had at least a first dose, and close to 40% of the entire eligible population have now had a first dose. So you can see the scale that is happening there.
So then do you rule out using something like the disaster relief payments as an instrument to encourage or coerce state governments into adhering to whatever framework you ultimately come up with? So you won't ever put them in a position where you say, look, we've said the rate of vaccination needs to be this, and at that point there shouldn't be lockdowns. But if you go down that path, will you go it alone when it comes to financial assistance for your people?
We're a long way off those sorts of discussions, and what we want to do with the states is bring them on an evidence-based journey. Many countries around the world have basically decided if they've got to certain points to start to reopen, and we've seen that's been quite disastrous in some parts of the world. In the Netherlands, they reopened and they've had to close things back down and reinstitute lockdowns. Singapore, although its vaccine program is a little ahead of ours, is equally back in a lockdown situation of sorts because of the Delta variant. So this is all about following the evidence. And in Australia, we're taking the time to work with the medical researchers to develop that evidence, and hopefully we can get all the states and territories to accept and come on a journey together, as we did really at the start of this whole process.
So in terms of the compensation and assistance that was being outlined yesterday, Senator Birmingham, what does that mean for people who are doing it tough here in South Australia?
Well, look, South Australians have taken the opportunity, as they should, to seek assistance through the COVID disaster payments where they lost work during the one-week lockdown we had here. Around 20,000 claims were lodged with Services Australia yesterday for those payments of $600 or $375, depending on how many hours of work were lost by South Australians, and those claims will be processed as quickly as possible, and money should be flowing into bank accounts pretty steadily over the next couple of days.
Senator Simon Birmingham, thank you for joining us on 5AA Breakfast this morning.
Thanks, guys. My pleasure. And if you haven't made your claim and you're eligible, please do so. Services Australia website or use your MyGov account.
Good on you. Thank you, Birmo. We said earlier in the program that we gave credit to Premier Stephen Marshall for avoiding the misconduct of other mainland political leaders in taking potshots at other premiers and getting involved in silly political debates. Also gave credit to the state opposition leader for keeping his head down over the last week and letting the government and police commissioner and Nicola Spurrier get on with the business of managing the lockdown. We've got the opposition leader, Peter Malinauskas, on the program now. Peter Malinauskas, thanks for your time. As we emerge from the lockdown, what do you think are the key challenges for South Australia?
G'day, David and Will. Good morning to your listeners. Look, you're right. We've been totally backing in the judgments of Grant Stevens and Nicola Spurrier on the lockdown. I think they were absolutely correct in going hard and going early on the lockdown. But it does worry me that we are slow and late when it comes to the vaccine rollout. We've obviously seen a lot of problems nationally, but also here in South Australia, fellas, we are behind. We're sort of mid-table on a few metrics when it comes to the vaccine rollout, but for our over 60-year-olds, our over 65-year-olds and 70-year-olds, we've got the lowest percentage of fully vaccinated people in the nation. So we've clearly got work to do. So I'm promoting a few key ideas today that I think the state government should take up to help accelerate the vaccine rollout, things that the state government can do. We know that they've got about 100,000 vaccines on last count sitting in a fridge. So let's do these three things. This is what we're proposing. Firstly, rather than we learned in yesterday's estimates that Stephen Marshall was planning to spend yet more money on his Building What Matters advertising campaign. They've spent over $1 million so far. They're going to spend more promoting the basketball stadium and the like. Rather than putting ads on TV about infrastructure projects, I think those ads on TV should be about the merits of the vaccine, where people can get vaccines from, and how to go about it. The advantage of that, of course, is that we're actually making a difference to the economy if we get the vaccine rolled out. The second thing is we haven't got a mass vaccination hub in the city or in the western suburbs or the northeastern suburbs. So we think there should be 3 there. The convention centre would be one example. The QEH and the Modbury Hospital could be the others. And then finally, we know that eventually we're going to have to start vaccinating under 18-year-olds, and the TGA just recently approved the FIVEaa vaccine for 12-year-olds and up. So let's start preparing our schools for what eventually is going to have to take place, and that is vaccinating young people. And that should, of course, occur where parents have consented to it.
But when you look at the over 65s here who haven't necessarily had it, does that suggest that there's a problem of supply, or is it a problem of demand? I mean, does that reflect that those people are maybe still umming and ahhing about whether they're going to have AstraZeneca or waiting for Pfizer, or, you know, is it necessarily the state government's fault?
I think it's a combination of things, gents. Obviously, there's been confusion with the ATAGI advice that's been well documented. There are supply issues, but there are also access issues. I mean, if you go online at the moment for some age cohorts and you want to book a vaccine at a mass vaccination hub, you can be waiting over a month. That's a long time. So to the extent that we can invest more in mass vaccination hubs, which is within the control of the state government, to the extent they can promote the merit of the vaccine to those age demographics on TV, that will make a big difference. You guys have spoken on your program about some of the really successful advertising campaigns overseas. We just haven't seen that here, and it does matter. People want that confidence. So we're spending money on, I'm seeing a tram going past me now with yet another government wraparound on it. I mean, let's use that money to promote the vaccine. People don't need to know about Marshall's Basketball Stadium. They've locked that in. They get it. And they'll form a judgment about that at the election. Let's invest on promoting what matters to our state more than anything else at the moment. The lockdown was the right thing to do, but it does impart pain on the community, casual workers, small business owners. You know, fellas, I've got 3 kids, 6 and under. After a week of homeschool, I don't know how I would have gone with the second week. So let's prevent this from occurring in the future.
How about see your 3 kids and raise your 1?
Do you think we need to give people some sort of goal to cheer for? I mean, beyond the sort of vague notion of the end of lockdown, or, you know, statements about, the freedoms you've enjoyed, you know, you can protect them by getting vaccinated. Some hard and fast numbers to say, here's where we are at today on the 29th of July, and when you get to this point, that's the end of X.
Absolutely. Now, I understand that National Cabinet has commissioned the Doherty Institute to do a report that hopefully goes to this. But I'm a big believer in and we can do this as a nation, not just as South Australia, but as a nation, we've got to set a target. This is where we want to be in terms of full vaccination by this date. And if we do that, this is what life's going to look after the event. And South Australia, as far as that's concerned, I mean, it's great that we're ahead of the rest of the country in some areas of COVID performance. But the one that's really going to matter to the future of our economy, the one that's really going to matter to our long-term recovery, is who can get vaccinated first. That's where the big prizes are for people getting back to work. So that's where we want to be first in class. We want to be top of the pop, and at the moment we're not. I think there are things that government can do. It worries me when Stephen Marshall says, the vaccine rollout has been excellent, Australia's leading the world. I mean, that's just patently untrue. So let's acknowledge the reality, put in some measures to address the vaccine rollout, and I think that's in everybody's interest, and that's what I'm advocating for.
Peter Malinauskas, thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Appreciate it, fellas. Cheers.
When can you get vaccinated, Will?
Well, I don't know.
What are you, 36?
No, 30... What did I just say my birthday? 38.
When? Did I forget it again?
No, my birthday's always when we're on holiday, so thankfully
right.
It passes without mention.
Yeah, okay.
Just as I like it.
When's my birthday?
May.
Oh, 7 years in, you finally remembered.
I don't know what date. I just know it's around that time of year.
What do you like, July 4 or something?
5th.
July 5th.
5th, 38, so no.
38?
I have contemplated what will come first, me being eligible in my age group or me becoming 40 and getting into that age group.
Yeah, well,
I hope it's the former.
All I want to know is whether I'm going to be able to go to New Orleans for my 60th, which is in 8 years. Do you reckon international borders will be open by
I'd
then?
like to say I'm confident, but I just can't quite get there.
I want to go to Galatoire's for lunch, and then I'll be carried down the road to Frenchman Street to listen to some bloke playing the banjo.
I hope it happens
That's
for
the
you.
plan.
I hope it happens.
Yes.
Surely it will.
Mm.
All right, let's check traffic. Thanks to Air Conditioning Warehouse Sales. Look at Adelaide's biggest air conditioning brands and best prices. airwaresales.com.au.
At Seaton, got a truck v parked car at Tapley's Hill Road near Clark Terrace causing delays. Speed restrictions on the freeway still apply for works on the down track. And Paraka burst water main this morning, Main North Road near Montague Road. Speed and lane restrictions apply. Busy on the drive in at Hackney Road, Bundy's Road to Dequettable Terrace inbound. And cameras this morning, Burbridge Road, West Beach and Gorge Road at Paraco. Love your lunch with a Porto. Chicken salad, Bondi Burger meal deal or chicken wrapper meal deal, just $9.95 each. Only at a Porto. Available before 4 p.m, pick up only. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
G'day, Scotty Cam here. If you're doing some home improvements and you're a little unsure, here's what I'd do. Head down to your local Mighty Helpful Mitre 10. There'll be one nearby. Have a talk to the guys in store about what you're planning. They'll set you up with all the gear you need, all the quality brands at great prices too. So before you get stuck in, stick your head into your local Mitre 10. They've got everything you need to get the job done right.
Thanks, Scotty. That's mighty helpful, Mitre 10.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive of Western Hospital, Henley Beach. With the rising costs of health insurance, some people don't know that you can pay for your procedures in a private hospital, which means no lengthy waiting times in the public system. Once you have a referral to a specialist from your GP, call us for a quote on 8159 1200. That's 8159 1200. Western Hospital, your hospital that cares. For more information, visit westernhospital.com.au.
Well, we are deep in winter and most nights have been freezing, which means it is definitely mini jumbuck time. Keep your family warm and toasty with the mini jumbuck range of wool quilts, mattress toppers and pillows.
Get one of these mini jumbucks in your tucker bag. They're 100% South Australian. They've been making Australia's favourite wool bedding products for more than 45 years at their factory down in Narracourt. And right now, for our 5AA listeners, they have an incredible offer to keep you warm throughout these cold winter nights.
Yes, go to minijumbuck.com.au and this is the bit you need to remember. Use the code FIVEaa, it's the number 5, capital A, and you'll get 40% off any full-priced bedding items. This is a cracking offer. Minijumbuck.com.au, 5AA is your code. Plus, you get free shipping to your door on orders over $100. 5AA at the checkout when you're ordering online.
Trust the South Australian brand that's been making premium wool quilts and bedding for more than 40 years. Visit minijumbuck.com.au, the URL again, minijumbuck.com.au for more info and to place your order.
Good leaders always look to support local, and they stay local. Like Leader Computers, Australia's largest Australian-owned PC manufacturer, based right here in South Australia. Having a world-class manufacturer of computers is a big win for our state, providing jobs and local support you simply can't get from overseas companies. Looking for the latest Intel and Microsoft-based computers at great pricing with the huge benefit of local support? Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller.
Hay fever and allergies can strike at any time. Did you know combining 2 or more products can more effectively target your symptoms? At Terry White Chemmart, ask our pharmacists about dual product therapy when hay fever strikes. Terry White Chemmart, now that's real chemistry.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
The new 5AA Player app lets you listen to all your favourite 5AA shows, news and podcasts wherever you go. Download it now from the App Store.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
4 minutes to 9 and time for Fuel Watch. See where the cheapest fuel is in an instant with the free MyRA app. Download it today. Your petrol $1.50s as you sort of range at the moment. Some cheap spots, $1.39 at the BP on the run, Regency Road, Croydon Park. $1.37 the United Salisbury on Salisbury Road. $1.33 at the United where Port Road becomes Old Port Road. Some big news too. McGain have texted in. They're going to pitch in $500 and get us to $20,000 this morning for the Undy Drive. We're up to $20,000 $20,000. Big thanks to you,
Excellent.
again. You've done it again. That's just tremendous.
They're awesome, those guys.
Oh, we can't believe we're at
$20,000.
$20,000 and we're
amazing.
not even at the end of week 1 of the Undie Drive. Go to the website, mycause.com.au/Undie Drive. It's time for Behind Closed Doors, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight, distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
And welcome along to 5AA Breakfast, and David Penberthy, welcome to you too.
Yeah, g'day, Will. How the are you?
Oh, I'm really well, David.
No.
One of the things we're talking about this morning is, and we'd like your input on this, Kaylee McEwen's response to winning a gold medal at the Olympics by using the F-bomb.
Well, you know what? I think it's artless and demeaning the way she responded, and the way that Pom, which is racist, responded when he won gold too. It's really sad that a species that has the most sophisticated forms of communication of any sentient beings on the face of the earth, that the best we can do at the peak moment of our triumph is to drop the F-bomb. It's terrible.
Right.
And it's okay for me to swear because I use the word sentient and artless and the phrase peak moment of triumph, which shows that I don't need to swear, I just choose to.
Yep, so do I, and that's why I'm certainly not going to sit here and pontificate like some sort of guru.
Well, I think you're okay. You used the word pontificate there, and that's a get out of swear jail free card.
Right, if you have something you'd like to say about it, you can ring us on 8223 0000 or send us a text on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line 044808 1395. I think there are better words you can use than the F-bomb. If we won an ACRA award for the best breakfast show, we wouldn't yell out the F-bomb.
Well, we might, because it'd be a miracle if we did.
Oh, yeah.
Someone's texted in from Brenton who says, it's a sad indictment on our society when you hear Kaylee McEwen's response to winning the gold medal. My vocabulary's never been so limited that I've had to use that word.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's actually garbage, Brenton, because you don't use that word. So the people who do use the F word and all the words you use means that their vocabulary's bigger than yours.
Good point, David.
Thanks, Will, but I still think it was artless and demeaning.
Yeah, well, there are all sorts of great words that can be used.
And oath there are words like hypocrite and...
We're at a time on this Thursday morning. Stick around for Leon Biner, and tomorrow, 20,000 and beyond. The Undie Drive continues to grow. We'll see you then.